attitude. You are just giving some.
Recording in progress.
Yeah.
Mm.
Collect the cup from him.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good
You are all
evening.
welcome.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank,
You are welcome to today.
thank
I trust our day was nice and is still going on well. It's already 10 minutes after 6, so I think we waited for 10 minutes now. Our doctor is already here. Dr. Dorothy, good evening, ma.
Oh yeah, go. You can go now.
Dr. Dorothy, good evening, ma. Dr. Dorothy, good evening, ma.
Good evening. Good evening.
You're, you're you're welcome to today's class, ma. How is your day going?
My day is fine. I thank God. And yours?
Fine, ma. Fine. Over to you. Your participants are waiting for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just 11. It's well, we were supposed to start exactly 6 p.m. So let's see how they are going to move. Oh, someone has shared the link. That's beautiful. Someone wanted the link to join us. That's nice. All right. It's nice to have everybody here. Let's see the early birds and Mr. Chigozie Nicholas. It's nice to have you. You know,
Thank you, ma'am.
I have really seen enthusiasm in these health trainings, mostly from women. But I must say that you have totally altered my perception or my notion about the whole thing, because over the years, you see, men are a bit reluctant. They just feel this health thing is for the women alone. But you have done so well. You have always come on time and you've always been here. I want to say thank you. And I believe your effort will surely pay off. Thank you so much. And nice to have you, Mr. Chigozie.
Thank you, ma'am. God bless you.
So, yes, you too. Augustina, yeah. Augustina
Yes,
Osei.
good evening, ma'am.
Augustina. Good evening. Good evening. How has it been? I hope today has been beautiful.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's a bit
For
tiring,
me,
but we have no choice.
yeah, it's a bit tiring. That's the truth. Exactly. But we don't have a choice. We have to do what we have to do. It's nice to have you. You're welcome. Ayokumi.
Yeah. Evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing? How is today? I hope we don't have any issues over there. Do we?
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you. Who is next? I want to just while away a little time to ensure that we start together. I don't know why this is 6:14 and the number is still not very encouraging. So I just want to take time with the pleasantries. Fumi Jerry, Fatima.
Well, good evening, ma'am.
Hello,
Hello,
Fatima.
good evening,
Good
ma'am.
evening. Good evening. How are you? I hope the caregiving duty has
At all,
has not weighed you too
at
much.
all,
Okay.
ma.
Yeah, because that question you actually asked yesterday is something that I have seen it concurrently over the years as I take this health trainings. I remember the other one, someone was like, Madam, please, sure all these things you're asking us to do, look up for the patient, do this. Are you sure? Are we really going to be able to do all these things? It is too
In
much.
fact,
And I had to laugh.
in fact,
Yes, that's it. So many people have asked that question. And that is why I take my time to explain to everyone that don't just say because you are looking for greener pastures, you just want to maybe go into the health field. That should be one of the numerous reasons they
Sure.
should be. But the best and most important reason is that you are there to save, to serve. Let's say serve and to save humanity. Join both of them. Because your patients will definitely be tried. Things will happen. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a smooth ride. But the thing is, what will give you that energy to keep going is the passion that you have. And if you can actually learn and learn where you have the right knowledge to go about these things. And another thing is what I answer them when they try to say these things, I tell them that it's like you learning to do something. If you are learning to do something or doing something for the first time, it's always like this. You think, how will I do this? Okay, how will I document? I just finish here, I document, I move to the next place, document, or maybe I get there and meet emotional challenge. What will I do? I have to stop. What about the other people? And a whole lot of confusion. That's what actually happens sometimes. But the fact is, if you learn and you learn well, you will be able to meander through all that and you come out you come out well-grounded, well-grounded as much as being even able to talk to other people that are just newbies, that are just venturing into the field. That is the way it is. So the major thing is the passion. It's just that when I remember, it's actually comic relief. It makes me smile, or it makes me laugh, Fatima. So it's nice to have you here. Welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, then gifts. Gifts. Hello, Gifts.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good
So
evening.
sorry.
Welcome, welcome. Your voice looks a bit down. Is it network or is it the stress of coming to sit down again?
No, not at all. You know, I have children in the
Pardon?
background. Don't want their voices to interrupt our conversation.
Okay. It's nice. Let your children, you see what I always tell people? I always tell them when you are having some of these trainings, the only thing is just control them. But most times it's good for you to allow them, if they are not asleep, or if they don't fall asleep or something, if they are still very active, allow them to listen, because it helps them. You will not know. You
Yeah,
may just think that, yes, you may just think they're just sitting there. Children, I tell you, the Gen Zs, children now, they catch up very fast. So if you allow them, if they should start at this tender age to learn all these pros and cons by extension, that's by not even really focusing on it, it's registering in their subconscious, and you'll be surprised that one day you might even need, maybe you're not feeling too well or something, you see how your child will demonstrate a caregiving spirit, will demonstrate taking care of you, and you'll be like, where did this child learn this thing? So allow them to be there, so long as they don't, they don't interrupt us. It's fine and good. Okay.
But the video of yesterday, I showed even my son the videos, and he watched with me the first and the second. So he enjoyed it, he liked it, yeah.
Wow, beautiful. But the only thing is, you are reporting yourself now. That means, Andy Smart Solutions and BCC, we have to get another money from you, because they have to they have to pay me for. So now you've just reported yourself that they have gone through my videos, so they have to pay. So we'll reach out to you for more money. All right. Thank you, Gifts. That's good. Labake.
Ma'am?
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
It's nice to have you. You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right. So I think that's done. We are done with. Okay, Modupe. I can see you, Modupe. Lillian. It's beautiful to have you join us. Mr. Matthew.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Matthew. How is the day going? I hope it's going
Good evening,
smoothly.
ma.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was good. And yours, ma?
Well, we thank God. We thank God. God has been faithful. You're welcome.
Nice having you here again, ma.
Thank you. Same here.
Yeah.
So, Labake, okay, I've said hello to Labake. Mr. Matthew, Promise, it's nice to have you. Tehila, too.
Hello, Doc. I'm here. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, Tehila.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. It's nice to have everybody. Promise you are welcome. Miranda, too. I can see you now. It's just that all the people that have joined us now, they have to pay fine. You have to pay some fees. Those people that have joined us lately, they made us to linger and wait. But all the same, I'm glad that.
Sorry.
Okay, don't worry. The class prefect has taken note of the latecomers, so we will get to that when we are done. All right. Thank you so much. Let's see what we have. So today, practically, having said hello to everybody, I hope I didn't skip anyone, because I like to do justice to. I just hope Miranda, okay, said hello to
You
Miranda.
skipped my name, but you did not call me.
Uchenna, Juliet. Sorry, I'm really, really sorry. Juliet.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. It's so nice to have you.
Good evening, ma'am.
My number one.
Thank you so much.
How could I forget you? No. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me for that error. You're welcome. And then Hembadon. Oh my God. I hope I've not murdered that name. Every
Wow.
time. Please, can we mute? Who is even doing this type of grammar? Let me see.
I think it's Joy.
Okay. I'm trying to look for the person that is doing that. So since the person has stopped, please let's mute our mic. Jessica, you're welcome. Nice to have you. And Hembadun and Oluwakemi, welcome. Okay, Hembadon, not Dun, but Don. Thank you. All right, let's move quickly. I hope I've done justice to the presence of everybody. Today, we want to quickly, as quick as possible, today we want to look at where we continued, where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday, we had a little bit touch of communication. We had to touch it a little because it fell under patient care skills. That's why we had a little bit of communication. And the real reason we had that video that we watched was to let us see how we can actually carry out activities of daily living in a way that it will not become a challenge to us. Because the truth of the matter is this: everybody that works, anybody that is working, you want to find your work easy. You want to have a conducive environment. You want a situation where you can your job can be easier for you. So how can your job be easier for you? One of the ways it can be easier for you to pull through doing your work from one person to another, rendering care, is for you to be able to communicate effectively with patients and members of the team. So activities of daily living, like we said yesterday, is one major skill of a certified nursing assistant. So hence we had that video. We saw some techniques, though time did not allow us to really dissect it because we were running late. But however, we had one or two feedbacks, to make me really know that you were able to assimilate what you watched. So it is important that when we are carrying out these activities of daily living, we do it in such a way that we don't have hitches. When you are happy doing your work and your patient is happy to have you, it makes you move through a seamless process. Take, for instance, if you have to attend to someone that is posing as a challenge, you have more work to do that has challenging behaviors. Maybe has different, just like something we had yesterday. Maybe someone that wants to be funny, maybe tries to be sexually inappropriate or exhibiting inappropriate behaviors with you, or there are a whole lot of things when you actually want to give care. It's even a little bit easier when you are a certified nursing assistant, but when you are a caregiver, whereby you have a brother, you have to move to people's houses, you have to attend to them, you have to sometimes shop for them, you have to, prepare their meals and do some duties like that. You see that you come face to face with these things. So it's always important for you to have this connection with your patient. And in the midst of still having that connection, you have professional boundaries. That is, in the midst of all those things, you still have your professional boundaries. You don't collect gifts unnecessarily. You don't, interfere into, you just know your limits, because sometimes they can be, buy you gifts, give you money, do all kinds of things to try to make you to derail from what is actually your objective. So these are things that go beyond that would mean you have stepped out of your professional boundaries. So when we do these things, like I always tell people, these things we learn is not cast on concrete. I always tell everyone it's not cast on concrete, because it's just like marriage. Now, before I got into marriage, I like to give you illustrations so the lesson would not just be boring and we, get tired and start yawning and sleeping. So before I got into marriage, truly nobody actually told me. What they'll just tell you, okay, I read books, yes, I went through counseling and I did the normal things that is done before you marry. People's experiences, maybe share with you, those that have, marked 10 years, 20 years, all those things, they will be telling you. Yes, they will tell you some of the things are true, but one thing is the bottom line, which is when you marry, the way which Juliet's marriage is, so I don't know the people that are married here, but I'm just using an illustration. The way Juliet's marriage is, obviously, will not be the same way Lillian's marriage is. So if Lillian maybe reads a book or gets a true life experience, maybe from someone, and uses that yardstick to measure her marriage, to a large extent, it may not work because it's not on the same page. You understand? So it will be left for Lillian to actually get into the marriage and see how it is, and borrow some of the experience and the knowledge she gained from left, borrow the one from right, take the one in the front, take the one in the back, mix it up together and make it to suit, to make her remain, continue to move in that marriage. So that's just an illustration. Sometimes the place Hemba done, may have maybe work as a certified nursing assistant, may have his own policies, may have very difficult people, may have people that are actually difficult. Please, once again, can we just mute our mics, please, so that we can move?
Like, Abby, you leave my bag now.
Adeswa, can you help us? Adeswa, can you help us, please? Thank you. Thank you so much, Adeswa. So what was I saying? Good. So it's not cast on concrete, like I said. So as you work, you begin to gain experience. You see things happening. You take the knowledge you already have and put it into use. People are different, so are preferences different. I wanted us to have a little bit of that effective communication yesterday as one of the patient care skills, because for you to actually attend to a patient, you have to have good communication skills for you to be able to handle a patient, because patients can make your job difficult. That's the truth of the matter. They can make it difficult for you. They can make you feel like, backing out from this healthcare thing if you come across the ones that are very, very difficult, maybe challenging. So, but however, what will keep you moving is the passion that you have. So now at this point, I'd like to see how many people are available. Good, 24. So I want us to look at this. The reason this is, like I said yesterday, that communication was just one of the skills. So we didn't go in depth into what it was. We just took it as one of the patient skills and we looked at it in the peripheral. We didn't go deep into it. So today, another module on our course outline, one of the modules is communication skills, and that's what we are actually going to look at today. Now, this video that we are about to watch, Adeswa, you were unable to join. All right, don't worry. Promise. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry for that laughter. I was actually going through something on the chat box and I just had to laugh. Somebody said my daughter asked me if my lecturer is a machine. Tell her I'm not a machine, that I'm AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, children can be very funny. All right. So as I was saying, I would want us to sit back, watch this video. Under communication, we are not going to talk too much. Everything, the A to Z of what you need to know is in this video that we are about to watch. Now, the way I like to do my trainings, I like to talk, I like to spice it up, I like to have pictures for the ones that I can actually get pictures to buttress the points, and the ones that I could get videos, the ones that videos are available to buttress what we are actually going to be talking about. So communication, we don't have too many things to talk about because we had looked at it yesterday, but because it is a module on its own, we'll go a little bit deep into it, and this video will tell you everything. Now, before we watch the video again, I want us to understand that as soon as when we are through with this video, I am going to ask you to tell me the things that you have learned from this video. Add it to the things I have said, because most of the things I've said over and over again concerning communication is embedded here in this video. I must warn you anyway, the video is a little bit lengthy. It's a little bit lengthy, I think. Not too long, maybe about 15 minutes or so, of 10 minutes to 15 minutes or thereabout. So, but instead of typing, if you sit down, you learn a whole lot practical experience from what is happening in this video. And do not forget that when we are done, I'll ask you for feedback to understand whether this video was actually worth me playing it for us all to watch. Everything concerning communication and the skills is embedded here. So let's see as we go. Let me put it in slideshow so it will be better for us to. Excuse me, let's see. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, let's see.
Presentation.
need
We
to
will
know
discuss
if.
the need of communicating. Presentation. We will discuss the need of communicating with people.
Okay, please, I would need to know if the volume is audible, because sometimes you need to find out. Since I'm carrying I need to carry everyone along. So please tell me if you can hear anything. I'm going to pause and ask if you can hear anything.
People. You will have the information needed to understand communication and how it works. Use communication skills to interact with all people in your care. Influence a person's behavior.
Okay, is it okay? Please, is the volume audible?
Yes, ma.
Yes,
Yes, it's audible.
Okay,
It's
so
okay, ma.
Yes, it is.
all right, thank you. So let's pay attention, please, so that my questions would be answered and I will be happy, because that's what I want. I want to be happy. Okay, let's get to
We
it.
will discuss the need of communicating with people. You will have the information needed to understand communication and how it works. Use communication skills to interact with all people in your care. Influence a person's behavior. Interact with families and teach. Describe cultural diversity and how culture may influence behavior. Recognize and respect differences among people in your care. When you knock on Rachel Morgan's door, you brace yourself to deal with this new resident, who has not spoken to you since she was admitted yesterday to Morningside Nursing Home. Mrs. Morgan is just 45 years old, but as you read on her chart, you see that she often has double vision, weakness and loss of balance caused by multiple sclerosis. Sometimes her hands shake and often she has sudden, uncontrollable outbursts of anger or crying. She can no longer live alone safely. You are surprised when Mrs. Morgan says, "Come in," and are even more surprised when she looks up at you and smiles. You say, "Hello, Mrs. Morgan," introduce yourself and check her name band as you give her a firm, but gentle, handshake. "I've come to help you get ready for bed." "Thank you," she says, "for introducing me to Agnes Ryan. She is such a dear woman. I was sitting in this chair, thinking how I don't belong in a nursing home with a bunch of old people. I'm too young and I should be in my own home, with my own friends, surrounded by my own things." At that point, I had never felt so alone. I was crying when I felt a gentle touch on my hand. I looked up and saw Agnes. Then she explained that you had introduced us yesterday when I was coming in. She said she'd stopped by to see how I was doing and to let me know that everyone missed seeing me at dinner. I was amazed. I wasn't seeing too well when I came in yesterday. And I didn't go to any meals today because I'm embarrassed of my weak, shaky arms. But I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. They missed seeing me at dinner. You tell Mrs. Morgan you're glad to hear that Mrs. Ryan stopped in to see you. You mention that Mrs. Ryan makes beautiful quilts. Do you think she would show me one? Rachel asks. You tell her yes and suggest that Mrs. Morgan ask her during lunch tomorrow in the dining room. I think I will talk with her tomorrow at lunch, Mrs. Morgan says, and smiles, using communication to interact with others. As you read in the previous chapter, people can be hard to understand. But they do not have to be a mystery if you talk with them and listen to their stories. When you interact with the people in your care, you learn many things about them that help you to understand them better. To do this well, you must understand communication, how it works, and how you can use it effectively in your work. Communication is the principle of care that you use when you follow all the other principles. You communicate to help keep people safe, to respect their privacy, to give them dignity, to promote their independence, and to help maintain infection control. Your ability to send and receive messages helps other people understand you and makes it possible for you to understand others. You may think that communication takes place only when you talk or write, but much communication takes place in the expressions on your face, the grip of your handshake, or the tilt of your head. How communication works. You probably know from personal experience how common it is for people to misunderstand one another. When you talk and someone misunderstands you, you may react by thinking, "What's wrong with her? Why didn't she understand me? What I said was so clear." Effective communication requires more than just one person talking or providing information. You tell Mrs. Morgan that she could ask Mrs. Ryan about her quilt making tomorrow during lunch. Mrs. Morgan says she thinks she will do that. You are the sender. The suggestion to talk with Mrs. Ryan at lunch is the message. You use verbal communication as the channel. Mrs. Morgan is the receiver. Confirmation occurs when Mrs. Morgan says that she thinks she will talk with Mrs. Ryan tomorrow. If these 5 elements work together for clear communication, why do people misunderstand one another? Sometimes the message itself may not be clear. Other times the sender may be using the wrong channel. For example, a man who talked to a nurse about the care his mother received became so upset that he didn't make sense when he spoke. His message might have been understood better if he had calmed down before he spoke, or if he had communicated through a different channel, such as a letter. Other times, misunderstanding occurs when the receiver does not confirm the message to the sender by telling the sender what she thinks the message means. If you are the receiver, confirm the message by repeating, in your own words, what the sender said. If you are the sender and you have to ask the receiver for confirmation, ask an open-ended question, not a closed-ended question. For example, the man who was talking to the nurse about his mother could have said, "Do you understand?" A closed-ended question, and the nurse could have said, "Yes," even if she didn't understand. However, if the man had said, "What do you understand about the situation that I just explained?" An open-ended question, the nurse would have answered by repeating the man's message in her own words if she understood it. Good communication requires much thought, careful attention, skill, and cooperation. It also has many benefits, including increased understanding among people. Choosing communication channels. As a nurse assistant, you use 3 channels of communication. Verbal communication is words spoken for the receiver to hear. Nonverbal communication includes actions and expressions for the receiver to observe. And written communication consists of words or symbols written on paper or some other medium for the receiver to read. The channel that you choose to send your message depends on the message and the receiver. For example, you would choose verbal communication to send a message to someone who cannot read or who is blind. In certain situations, you might use more than one channel to send your message. For example, you could explain something, verbal communication, and then write it down, written communication, as a reminder. Or you could demonstrate a skill, nonverbal communication, and describe what you are doing, verbal communication, at the same time. Verbal communication. Verbal communication has 2 important parts. 1. What you say, and 2. How you say it. Effective verbal communication requires that you have useful information to share, speak clearly, and express your thoughts well. When you talk with a person in your care or with your coworkers, use the following verbal communication skills. Get the receiver's attention before you start talking. If the person is doing something, and your message is not urgent, it may be better to talk with her later. Use words that the receiver understands. When communicating with people in your care, be careful about using medical terms that may not be familiar to them. Because some people feel shy about asking what you mean, they may not get the message. Choose the right volume. Speak loudly enough to be heard, but not too loudly. How loudly you speak depends on how well the receiver can hear, how much noise is around you, and whether you are discussing personal information. If a person is having trouble hearing you, move closer to her. Speak slowly and clearly. Talk slowly enough to express your thoughts clearly and to give the receiver time to hear and think about what you are saying, as well as the opportunity to respond or ask questions. Be aware of your tone of voice. Please tend to how you sound to be sure that your tone of voice matches what you're trying to say. Sometimes, when you are in a hurry or have something else on your mind, you say things in a tone of voice that is not appropriate for the situation. For example, if you are thinking about an unpleasant conversation you experienced with the bus driver today, you may inappropriately reflect your anger at the bus driver when you speak to the person in your care. Listen to the receiver. By asking receivers to respond and by listening to what they say, you receive confirmation that they understand your message. If they do not understand, you may have to send the message again in a different way. Wait until the person who is talking stops speaking, then begin to speak. If they do not stop, politely say "excuse me" and wait 1 minute so that they may respond. Nonverbal communication. A performing mime never speaks. He or she uses only actions, nonverbal communication, to send a message. Information and feelings often are shared through body movements and facial expressions. Sometimes these actions are called body language. To communicate effectively, you need to understand 2 different elements of nonverbal communication: receiving information and sending information. When you look at people, you notice their facial expressions and how they hold their bodies. The information you receive from their faces and bodies affects how you interpret their messages. If you talk to a woman whose arms are folded tightly across her chest, you may think she is angry or upset. You interpret this message not by what she says, but by how she holds her body. However, her arms may be folded because she is cold. a person's background and culture also can affect nonverbal expression. For example, looking a person in the eye is a form of respect in some cultures, but it is considered offensive in others. When you receive information through nonverbal communication, ask the sender whether you are interpreting it correctly. On the other hand, you must be careful about the information you send. Sometimes you have to keep your feelings inside so that they do not show on your face. For example, when you provide care to someone who has an infection that neither looks nor smells nice, you must keep a calm look on your face so that the person does not feel afraid or rejected. If a situation really bothers you, you may need to excuse yourself, get a breath of fresh air and return. Be aware of how you hold your body and what you are doing so that you communicate the right message. For example, if you are pleased about something, make sure your facial expression, perhaps a smile, and body, standing erect, as well as your words, communicate your pleasure. The same nonverbal clue can signal many possible messages, which the receiver needs to check out. Consider the following aspects of nonverbal communication. Personal appearance. When you look professional, by wearing clothing without stains, wrinkles or holes, and by polishing your shoes, keeping your hair clean and neat and trimming your nails, you send the message that you care about yourself and the people you are with. Facial expressions. The meaning of facial expressions can vary. For example, a smile can be a sign of welcome or a sign of approval. A frown can suggest unhappiness or annoyance. The look in a person's eyes can show understanding or confusion. Keep in mind, however, that a facial expression can be affected by specific developmental disabilities where the person does not look at the person to whom he or she is speaking. In this circumstance, it is best to use other means too. Confirm the listener's understanding or feelings. Touch. A caring touch, such as a hand on a shoulder, a pat on the back, or a hug, is often a good way to make someone feel special or emphasize what you are saying. However, as you know, touching is not considered appropriate in all cultures, and some people simply do not like to be touched. It is important to remember that physical touch can be very disturbing to individuals with specific neurological disorders or conditions. This is called tactile sensitivity, and should not be taken personally by the caregiver. Sometimes, because of how you feel, it is not appropriate to send a message by touch. If you feel angry, tense, or impatient, you may want to grab, slap, or shake a person, but you must never touch a person in this way. If something is bothering you, talk about it right away with your supervising nurse or with someone else you trust. Body position and movement. People in your care communicate how they feel physically and emotionally by the way they move, stand, and sit. For example, a person who usually sits up straight may be slouching in his chair today. His slouched position may indicate that he is in pain, tired, or feeling depressed. You also send messages when you move, stand, and sit. Move toward people slowly so that you do not startle them and so that they do not think that you are in a hurry or that you do not want to be bothered with them. Where you stand or sit in relation to another person also is important. Every person has a comfort zone. Your own comfort zone may allow you to stand very close to others, but some people in your care may find your closeness uncomfortable and back away. Or you may need a lot of personal space, but someone in your care may think that the distance means you do not like her. Be aware of each person's comfort zone, and find a distance that feels right to you and the other person. Written communication. In your work, you often communicate by writing telephone messages for coworkers, reminders for people in your care, and information for your coworkers about the people in your care. Before you write a message for someone in your care, find out whether she will be able to read it. Her ability to read may be a source of pride or embarrassment. Although she communicates well verbally, she may not be able to read because she never learned. She does not read English, or she has problems with her eyesight. To find out about her reading ability and protect her dignity, talk to her or her family members. Then, when you do communicate in writing, use the following written communication skills. Write neatly. If your handwriting is hard to read, print instead. Choose the best size and colors for your letters. If you write something for a person with limited eyesight, use large letters and a black or dark blue pen or crayon on white paper. Draw pictures. Sometimes a picture says more than words, and it communicates well to a person who cannot read. Choose simple words. Use the simplest words you can to get the message across. Be specific. For example, if you are noting the time, be sure to write AM or Prime Minister if two people with the same last name are in your care. Provide additional information, such as their first names or their room numbers. Be thorough. Make sure that your message is complete. Spell correctly. If you are not sure of the spelling, look it up or ask. Include your signature. Always sign your notes so that people know who wrote it. Double check your message. To make sure that you have not made any mistakes, check over what you have written before you deliver the message. Computers may be used to communicate information about the person, to obtain your assignment, or to record observations or tasks that you have performed, or even to take a nurse assistant examination. As with any piece of equipment, the more familiar you become with it, the easier it is to use. If you do not own a computer, you may be able to go to your local library to practice. If you feel uncomfortable, ask for assistance, and remember, the more you practice, the easier it will become. Whether you use verbal, nonverbal, or written communication as the channel for sending a message, you want to do your best to make sure the message that you intend is the message that you send. Using clear communication when provided care.
Wow. Okay, so all right. So right now, that was the A to Z of communication. I don't know how many people enjoyed that or learned one or two things from that video. That video just talked about communication in totality. Needless for us to even talk too much about it. So now, I would like to know how many people actually could hear the volume and you understood what played out on the video we just watched. Please, I would like to hear the responses.
Very clear, ma'am.
I do. It's very clear.
All right, thank you.
Very clear.
Okay, so who is going to build a cat? Who is going to start? I need someone to start to set the ball rolling. I want to know what are some of the things that we learned there? What are some of the ways we can communicate effectively? I mean, what have you learned from the video? I want you to share with me. I would like to know. So who is going to start? Who will set the ball rolling? Okay, Mildred, please do. Set the ball rolling. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, house. Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, Mildred. Nice to hear your voice.
From the video, ma, there is something I actually learned from there, and which is very, very, it's very important to note, because, you know, the communication thing depends on our mood.
Correct.
From all what I hear, what I learned from the video is that, you know, sometimes before we leave our house for our office or job or business, we sometimes, if we are aggrieved, it will affect our communication.
That day.
For that day, the way we are going to talk to people. So what I've learned, is that no matter what happens at home or in our families, among friends, because friends can make you angry. You can just be leaving the house and somebody will receive a phone call.
Perfect.
You know. Then your parents, your children, husband, in fact, their own is worse. Men are here in the house. So let me just keep that one.
Don't allow Mr. Matthew to hear you and Mr.
That's right. With all due respect, I'm very sorry, sir. You know, but we have to pay it, because as especially nurses, you know, medical practitioners, they sometimes have issues with men that don't understand their job. So what I want to say is that what I have watched and I've listened to, let's not carry our mood. Let's leave our mood at home.
At home. Transfer aggression.
We shouldn't transfer aggression. We should always be happy. When we are going to our place of work, maybe the hospital, the facility, to care for someone, whatever that has happened to us at home or anywhere, we should just drop it at the door before we enter the house. Because our duty is to make them happy. We don't have to increase aggravate their problem, because when they are in that situation, they are not happy. Because I can give an example of my mom. My mom traded for more than, I can say, 60 years. Her trading at 15 because she became a semi-orphan. So when she couldn't work again, she had the arthritis. That stopped her from going to the market. Even at 70-something, 79, my mom was still trading. So because she couldn't go out again, she was always very angry. I took care of her because I was the closest to her. They asked me to carry her, so I had to take her, drop her to Abuja. And I know what I experienced. I took care of my mom for 3 months. We were together.
Wow.
And I saw that she's always aggressive, she's not happy because she's
Yes.
sitting down in one place. So that is how all those people feel. So we should try and make them happy. We should not aggravate their issues, the problem, or their situation. So we have to work on our mood before we go for our duty. Thank you, ma'am.
Wow, Mildred, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful feedback from the video. That's very, very, in fact, what you have said is very important. I think I said it yesterday or the day. I'm not very sure which of the days, but you have just nailed it. That is the exact thing. When we are into this business, we are into saving lives, not only even in the health sector, be you a teacher, be you a banker, whatever your work is, you don't take whatever is happening to you into your work environment or into the line of your duty, because if you cannot contain with it, definitely it's going to come through when you are actually carrying out your duty for that day. So it is advised, like I said, I think I said yesterday, that you pocket all those things, you just keep them, and then go be happy, be positive, move with positivity, start the day's work so that you can move with those people without having any. Thank you, Mildred. I really love that. Thank you. So, who is the next person? I think that's just one out of so many. This video contains a lot cultural, so a whole lot of things, hence the length. So who is going to continue from where Mildred stopped? 3 participants raised hands, and who are there?
Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. So I learned from the video that there are different types of ways to communicate to different type of people.
Okay, I'm trying to see who is talking. Is that
My
at
name
this
is Adesua.
one? Okay, I have seen it. Go ahead at this one.
Yes, I said in the video, I learned there are different types of ways to communicate with different type of people.
That's correct.
So yes, that's what I learned. That's what I took from the video.
Okay. There's a
Yeah.
way to communicate with people. That's a beautiful feedback as well. Very beautiful one. Because where I communicate with Peter, if I communicate like that with Paul, I may not have the same outcome from the communication, because individual differences is very important. People are different, anyhow you see. And that is why it's important for you to learn to know the people you work with, because when you know the people, it's easier for you to handle them. Anybody that you know, at least you know you won't know in totality, but at least to a large extent, you know about them. It will be easier for you to handle them. Aside the health sector, even in our relationships, in anything we do, in workplaces, you learn to know people, because when you know people, you know their likes and dislikes, you know how to handle them, you know how to approach them in order to ensure that we have limited issues, or we have limited squabbles. So that's very good, Adeswa. Thank you for your beautiful contribution. Thank you. So the floor is open for the next. I need like 5 contributions, because there are so many things embedded in that video. Hence, I had particularly asked that we should be very attentive so that we can contribute something that we have learned. So Mildred and Adeswa, thank you for setting the ball rolling. Now the floor is still
Hello.
open.
Okay,
Yes.
what I
Hello.
observe is that
Hello. Please,
we use
excuse me, please. Can I hear the male voice? I'm finding it difficult to really see hands that are raised, but I heard a male voice first. Please, who is that? Is that Mr. Matthew or Mr. Chigozie or Mr. Alex? Because we have 3 men.
Mr. Chigozie.
Okay, Mr. Chigozie. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Out of the video is very, very interesting, but out of the mode of communication, the one that struck my mind is the facial communication. That we should, when you have a patient, even when the environment is not conducive, maybe the patients you are attending to have all this kind of odor, that we should keep our facial communication professional. You don't go there and behave to show the patients that is an odor.
That's
you
correct.
Put a smile on your face, keep those odor you are hearing, you are perceiving away. Communicate very well. When you know that even when you need to go and take a breath, after communicating and patient relax, you can take permission as if maybe you want to answer call, you go out and take another fresh air. Then you come inside again and continue your work. That we should communicate very well. Don't show that, because when you do, the patients will know that she have one kind of
Yes,
odor,
yeah,
that you are not comfortable with the person. So that is the one that struck my mind out of the many. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. I too was wondering if nobody would talk about that. Thank you. That's a very beautiful contribution. That's a feedback that I'm getting from you. Actually, that is true. That's why I had to get this. I like this video a whole lot because, you know, sometimes, like we talked about taking care of these elderly people, maybe you are helping with toileting, you know. I gave an illustration yesterday. So even the way you keep your face goes a long way. You are talking with them, you know. If a person does not have proper hygiene, you know what happens. Definitely that person is bound to have maybe body odor. It's natural, not even a sick person. A normal person, if you don't take care of yourself, have proper bath and all that, you are bound to have. So let's look at something as little as body odor. And don't forget that some of these people cannot do these activities of daily living for themselves. So if you are a CNA and you have a patient that has body odor, or you have a patient that has a challenge that you cannot go close to, then it means you are failing in your duty. Because that person, especially if it's somebody that cannot do these things for himself or herself, then it boils down to one thing, that you are not doing what you're supposed to do properly, in the line with your duty and in the line with the person's care plan. So aside that, this health thing, whatever, like I said yesterday, nothing should really irritate us. Nothing at all should irritate us if you are in the health field. Because if you are easily irritated, maybe you easily express this thing that you see, you know, then that's a wrong, you're actually in the wrong place or in the wrong profession. So sometimes you get to talk to them. Sometimes even minus the health field, you get maybe colleagues, maybe you have someone that actually has that odor. If the person is, what you can do is, aside the patient, maybe outside, you quietly, with respect, address that issue with the person. If it is outside the health field, like now, I'm deviating a little. Let's say maybe somebody that you know, because it's happening. It has happened. Take, for instance, we are talking about communication. Yes, but I don't want to, I just want to deviate a little from the health sector. Take, for instance, some time ago, I used to have, some years ago, I used to have a colleague where I worked some years ago. Now, that colleague, a very young man, a very young, agile man, you understand, a colleague of mine, and we were somehow close because, you know, we worked in the same department. So sometimes we get to do some things in common in line with the office work. So I observed that at any time he enters, if that colleague of mine enters the office, everybody knows that that person has entered. Why? Because that is like a signature. That was like his signature as at that time, because of that body odor, you know. And nobody was actually telling him. Nobody was actually telling him the truth, like, you know. And I was thinking, how would that's why I say, before you communicate with a person, you have to filter your words. You have to think. I actually thought about it for some time. One, because I'm a female and he's a male, so let it not be misconstrued. That was the first thing. And then secondly, nobody was actually willing to tell him. So I thought, should I speak to the wife? But I say, if I speak to his wife, it will be somehow, you know, we women, the wife may say, well, how does it concern you? Or how is it your business? Or, you know, so it needed a very high level of carefulness in my being able to do it. But at the end of the day, I asked God to give me direction, and I was able to, because we were friends, like he was my friend. So if I don't tell him, it will not be good. Other people are looking at it and they're talking and they're seeing, so I have, and finally it paid off at the end of the day. It wasn't misconstrued. He did not feel bad. He took it in good faith, just the way it's supposed to be. And that's the beauty of it. It depends on the way I said it. But maybe if someone that didn't have right communication would just maybe outburst and just tell him, why is it that you always call? Does it mean you don't, and just say something? You can imagine the level of enmity that will result from that particular act. So even as us in the healthcare field, taking care of these patients, you will see different things. Depends on the department that you are working. I must just prepare your minds, and I must just tell you the way it is. There's no need to garnish any statement. You are going to see the way it is when you get there. If you are actually going to, it depends on the department that you work. If you are not where you are actually prone to seeing these things, perhaps you would not see it. But the fact is that you may see it. So when you see these things, you take it with, you ensure that you say it lightly to them. You try to help them. Use wisdom, because they say the Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. I don't know if it's in the Quran, but the Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. Perhaps it is there. I don't know. So it's only normal that we know how to communicate. So just as Mr. Nicholas said, if you have to take care of someone that maybe is having, as a result of the illness, the odor, that is emanating from that person, the person never wished that for himself or herself. That's the first thing you should think about. It's life that happened to the person. And of course, you don't know how life would happen to you when you get to that person's age. That's what I tell people. So don't try. I've once seen one girl that was maltreating her grandmother. I said the grandmother should know that the grandmother is always smelling. Outrightly, like the girl said, no, the grandmother is always smelling. Mommy, Grandma, I don't like you coming close to me because of this. So I told her one day, because she did it once, twice, and good enough, that day I told her that you are telling your grandmother, you have the audacity. I mean, I don't know, I can't remember the exact word I used, but you could tell that to your grandmother. Have you stopped to think that you will come to that age, that you'll be of that age of your grandmother? You understand? And you don't know how your own would be. You don't know. So this thing, life happens to us all. Illnesses, people don't plan for illness. So in the course of our duties, don't frown your face. Or maybe you are helping with perineal care. Maybe the old person managed to use the toilet and you are, the toilet, the odor that comes from the toilet has, the whole place has taken over, and you are like showing the signs, showing it on your face, your behavior, everything. Automatically, you make that person's self-worth to drop instantly. That is just the truth. So when it comes to all those things, we should handle it well. Handle it wisely, not well, but wisely. That is the word. So you can step out. You may decide to, if it's pungent, you can decide to step out. And if you're in charge of taking care of that person, you devise means that will still fall within the person's health schedule, a care plan. Because it depends on illnesses. Different illnesses are treated different ways. They have certain things that you don't do. So you can, to a large extent, discuss with the nurse or the supervisor and see other ways that person can be helped. That is better than you actually showing facially or giving facial expressions that you are Mr. Clean or that you are better than the person. So thank you, Mr. Nicholas. That's a beautiful one. I had to talk about that because that one really got me. Mama, my battery, laptop. So, I mean, that one really, really, really got me. So it's very important that we know how we go about these things. When we are handling people that are vulnerable, people that are sick, we should be careful. So who else is going to help us now?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, doctor. Yeah. What I learned here. Can you hear me?
Sorry, please. Can you just hold on, please? There was someone that wanted to speak.
Okay.
Mr. Nicholas, or is it after that I said should hold on? I don't know if you are the one, Kate. Is that person here?
Yeah, I wanted to speak, so but I don't know. Maybe
the one. Okay, Kate. Please go ahead.
Okay. Should I go ahead?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. What I also learned here too is the way you communicate to your patient. And if you're also a jovial person, it will help to put a smile on their face. You might not know the need they are, but if you're also a happy person, it will help them also for their situation and everything. I think that's what I learned from the communication.
That's a beautiful one. Thank you, Kate. That's a very good one. Your disposition, have an amiable disposition. That's what I was saying to you. Have that disposition that will make them approachable disposition, and then just make it easy for people to reach you. That's just it, because your attitude, the way you keep your face, the physiognomy of your face alone can give someone access to you or not. There are people that maybe something may really be disturbing them. And because of how your face is you are always angry, you are always quarreling with yourself. Yes, and you are the one kind of person that feels that the world revolves around. It's about you, it's about I, it's about, everything is you, me, I, like that. At the end of the day, it's difficult for you to actually thrive in this field. So you have to be jolly, you have to be happy, you have to be positive, because when you are positive, nice. Thank you so much. I can see Taylor. Was your hand raised? Taylor. Okay.
Hello?
All right.
Yes, ma.
Taylor,
Hello?
was your hand raised?
Hello, ma.
Yes, Taylor. I was asking if you raised your hand.
Hello, ma.
Okay. Can you hear me, Taylor?
Uchenna Juliet, raise hand.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. Taylor, I was thinking you raised your hand, but I think you didn't. I'm
Hello,
seeing
good
you.
evening. I can hear you, ma. I can hear you. I did actually, but then I put my hand down because I think
Okay, so you can speak now. As I saw words, Uchenna Juliet to speak because your hand was up. Yes, go ahead, Taylor. What did you want to say?
okay. What I also observed from the video, they talked about if the patient, for instance, is disabled, the patient is blind, you should make sure that you're communicating with effective words and you're not using bogus words that the person might not understand. And also, if the person is not blind, the person can actually see properly, or maybe the person has dementia or something, you should also try to communicate with a letter and also with effective words. That's what I learned.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ayla. That's a beautiful one. I'm so happy that we're really able to learn a lot from the video. Thank you for that beautiful contribution. Please, Juliet, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, everyone. What I also want to contribute is talking about the way we communicate to our patients. In the video talk about not speaking loud, not speaking too loudly. I want to give an instance. Maybe we can be talking to a patient. It's possible that the patient is far, probably thinking about his situation, his mind. But because the patient is not responding, we might want to speak very loud. Shout. So the video makes us understand that we should, even if we have to shout, we do not shout too much, not shout too loud, so that the patient will not feel embarrassed. Then we should also watch the body language. That is another mode of communication. Somebody can use a finger or use a nodding of head to respond to your communication. We should also watch out for those. Thank you.
Wow. Beautiful, Juliet. I was thinking nobody would mention that part. That means you really paid attention. Thank you for that. Talking, very important. Do not shout. Do not shout. Talk in a way that the person will understand. I understand what you are saying. Maybe, these people, sometimes they may have moved into a trance, like I like to call it, or their minds have drifted to another place. And so ordinarily, naturally, you may just feel, oh, this person, and you want to shout so that the person can hear. That is a wrong approach. It's not ideal to shout on our patients. So that's a very beautiful one. Thank you. So I think we don't have any other person. Do we have any other person? Any other person? Okay. So Hembadon. Okay, go ahead.
I learned something that you just don't touch. Over here, our way of showing empathy, compassion, and sympathy is by touching.
Sorry, Hembadon, your voice is faint. Can you just Speak out a little. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the observation I noticed there, or I got there, is about the touching part. Hello.
Yes, I'm hearing you about the touching
Okay,
part.
yeah, that you have to take permission before you put your hands on someone. Like, can I touch you? You know, before you do or say anything. So I didn't know it like that. You know, over here, our way of showing sympathy or empathy is by touching. Oh, when someone is hurt or something, or someone is not feeling fine, you go ahead and touch the person and show your sympathy or say sorry or whatever. But over there, I don't know whether because of the different sexual types or preferences you have over there, you will have to take permission before going ahead to touch someone. So that is what I learned from this communication today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hembadon. Thank you. That's a beautiful one. What you have said, that point you have just raised has made me to remember something. Yes, that's very correct. Over there, if you leave the shores, this part of us, the world, Nigeria precisely, it's easier to just pat a person's back, touch, you know, our culture. And most of the cultural beliefs or our cultural setting permits that. In fact, it's a sign of love, of affection, of showing that you actually have interests about that person by touching, by hugging, and all those things. Ordinarily, yes, that is it. But again, I tell anybody, this is a very important point for us to note. You must know the cultural. It was one of the things we did, I think either the first day or the second day, the cultural preferences of your patients. You must know, because that is one thing. Just something as simple as doing something that is not permitted, you can lose your job if it's not done the proper way. Now, outside the country, most of these countries like UK, like US, in fact, when you cross the shores of Nigeria, there are stringent measures. I always tell people here, when I have training, there are stringent measures. Touching, there are people that they don't permit that outrightly. That's the truth. They don't see it as any form of, you know. So if you have a patient that you understand, that you study, and the beautiful thing is that in a setting, people know. It's just like teachers. They know. If you talk about a child, they know the preferences. They know what that child likes. They know what that child does. They know the likely challenges you face with that child. It's just like that. So in a setting, just as you've seen there, in a setting, maybe in a nursing home or in a hospital, people already know that, okay, this is what you do, and this is how this person does not, like we watched that video yesterday, that man prefers to be called John, to be called by his first name. It makes him happy. So you see, it was a general, it was an observation that was generally accepted. You know, like all of them, all the workers, all the nurses and the health workers, they knew that man, that John, when we watched that other video, preferred to be referred to when you call his first name, John, instead of, you know, giving him the professional thing, the official name. So people are different. People have their preferences. So even before you extend to do the touching, especially outside, if it is here, it's no issue. To a large extent, 70% is not an issue, because it's part of our culture. It's part of the Nigerian thing, you know, to actually do that. If not for some issues that came during that COVID, they say don't go close, don't hug, no contact, and all those things. But aside all those things like that, generally it's not a problem to do that. But outside, you have to take permission. You have to know the preference of your patients before you actually do it. I don't know, Jessica is not able to log. I'm wondering what could be the problem. So that being said, I want to thank everyone. You have really, really amazed me. I'm glad, I am happy that this video has made us to learn a whole lot. So my effort is absolutely not futile. My effort has paid off for me to have brought this video. So practically we have learned communication skills. So we don't have to overflock it. So let's look at the next slide. Let me take it back to slideshow, where we so we can see it better. Good. So right now,
Presentation.
oh,
Presentation.
why
We
is
will
this?
discuss the need of
Sorry,
communicating with people. You will have the information.
what is wrong with this? It wants to stress me. No, I will not allow you to do that. All right, so now we are just going to run through as fast as possible. We are not really going to dwell too much in it because the reason I had this is to have a backup slide to you, for you to have a few backup slides, so that you can use it to follow up what we've watched. Now, concentrating, active listening is one of the things that is required for effective communication. Concentrate to what the person is saying actively, rather than just passively hearing the message. Like I talked yesterday, there's a difference between hearing and listening. Pay attention to the non-verbal and verbal cues, just as we have seen. Confirm understanding by summarizing or paraphrasing. Someone tells you, okay, please, can you get me a cup of water? Make sure that you paraphrase, that you bring back that statement. Let the person give you, okay, you want me, please, did you say I should get you a cup of water? And the person will confirm, yes. If someone says, okay, please, can you get me that chair? Or can you do this? Re-emphasize it, summarize it, paraphrase it, say it again. Perhaps in your own words, oh, did you mean that I should bring you that chair, or I should bring the chair close to you? And the person will confirm. That is to make it rock solid sure that you know exactly what you are going to do after hearing that person. Very, very important. Okay. Now, do not interrupt others. This one is very important. I don't know whether it was part of that. Do not interrupt. This very particular aspect, many people do it unconsciously. And I must tell you that even myself, sometimes I do it unconsciously. That is just the truth. I do it unconsciously sometimes. When someone is talking, you have to pay attention and listen to the person. Why? Because it shows respect. When a person is talking and you interrupt that person, it's not good. So if a patient is actually telling you what he or she is going through, or, telling you something, or this is what I want, or this is what I need, you should listen without interruption. Allow for complete thought and feelings to be expressed. Allow the person to express himself. Allow the person to express himself or herself before you actually say what you have. Wait for natural pauses before responding. There are things we call natural pauses. When someone finishes to talk, not immediately the person finishes, you start. No, there should be a little pause. That's what it's just a natural thing. That pause comes just like I talk now. I'll pause, because that pause, you have to maybe take in air. You understand? So there are natural pauses. You don't just have to interrupt someone, allow a person to land. Some people say, please allow me land. That statement means allow me finish. At least let there be that natural pause before you continue. Very important. Remember that this training is not only for you to use it as a CNA. You can use it in all aspects of your life. You can build upon what you already know, because I know you're already seasoned professional. So you just take a little bit of it and build upon what you already know. Very important. Encourage the speaker to continue without interruption. Madam Olabisi, please help us to mute, please. Thank you. So, that being said, interruption is wrong. Then patience is something that you need to remain calm and composed. Being patient is actually something that many people don't have. A good number of people don't have. This thing they call patience can give you anything you want. If you are patient, even when talking to someone annoys you, remain calm. I'm not saying you should just lie low for anything to go under the bridge. No, that's not what I mean. I mean that at least in any situation, try to remain calm, try to remain composed in challenging situations, because you will have those challenging situations. So let nobody deceive you that it will not be there. If you actually want to go into the health field, it will be there as any other challenge in life. But you have to remain calm and you have to remain composed, because it is in your composure that you'll be able to make use of the knowledge that you have acquired. It is in your calmness that you'll be able to make informed, appropriate decisions when an emergency occurs or there is a challenge, a major challenge. It is in your calmness that your knowledge and your expertise will come through. So it will come through. So it's very important. Now, it also helps you to reduce stress. That's another thing. So you don't get yourself worked up. You don't get yourself too bottled up over things. You take this life easy. Slow and steady, they say, wins the race. You take it easy. Let nothing really agitate you. If you're a temperamental person, before you venture into it, please do away with the temper and move. Just tell yourself, I don't need this temper. Throw it away. If you're in Nigeria, throw it in River Niger or River Benue. Just discard of it and then be ready to move. That is the best way, and that's the best mindset in this particular field. Allow the patients the time they need to express themselves. We've talked about that. Take deep breaths if you are feeling overwhelmed. I tell people, whenever you are angry, it's just like in a house, maybe a husband and a wife, a man that doesn't know how to, to box the wife, doesn't abuse. Let me use that word. Some of those men, when they are angry, instead of them, because if they remain in that angry state, they can do something. Maybe, that they will come and handcuff them and take them away somewhere and discard them somewhere. They will just simply wear their clothes and go out. For those that have cars, they'll pick their car keys or they'll walk out. Why? So that they'll take in fresh air, they'll relax, compose themselves before they come back. Sometimes, even you, the wife, you wonder by the time they come back, you wonder if this was the same person that was angry. You understand? So these are some of the techniques that you need when you are bottled up, when maybe somebody has just annoyed, or a patient has done something that you don't really, instead of you saying, oh, I might look at me coming to suffer. If I had known, see what I'm going through. If on a very fine day, can you even do this? Can you even, talk to me? Oh, this. So I've heard caregivers actually say that someone will say, look at this old woman that is frail. If not for the loss and if not for this thing, I'll just one push, you'll be 6 feet. All this type of things. So that you don't actually vent that anger, you either look for a method of relaxing it, of letting it go. We all have different ways that we ease tension. So you ease the tension. Either you step out a little for a few seconds, breathe in air, take in air, breathe in enough air, send it out, breathe in enough air, send it out, compose yourself, come back to the place and continue, because life goes on. So that's just what we are expected to do. Maintaining positivity in everything we do, be positive. Have a positive attitude. We cannot overemphasize that. Use languages that are very, very, languages that are positive, that will keep telling you, give you positive vibes. Just maintain the positive vibes. Let me just say so. Maintain your overall quality of life, remaining positive, because it can help you in your communication skills. For instance, maybe if you are talking with patients about maybe possible treatment plans or potential health outcomes, staying upbeat may go a long way to make them feel better about their current situation. When you talk to them, you are positive, you talk to them, you give them hope, you give them faith, like we talked about yesterday. At the end of the day, you will be happy you did. Smile and use open body language. You are happy, show that you're happy. Don't bottle it up. If they've done something good, sometimes you need to encourage them. Maybe the one that, maybe for instance, maybe a person that has mobility issues and the person has been going through exercises, you've been going, ambulation movement, person is trying to get himself or herself to walk small, is making little baby steps, taking little baby steps. So you can commend that person. You can comment. Everybody loves commendation. It's just as when you tell me, oh, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy, you have done this. I'll sit on the platform and you tell me these things. It makes me happy, like any other person would. So play it. Just play the tape, relate it to your patients. If they actually do something that, they had to take a lot of strength, they had to take a lot of willpower to do, you can just give them a thumbs up. You can tell them you are just doing great. You are just doing well. If you have, as you started like this to take the steps, I believe that in no time, you'll be good to go. You'll be able to walk. You'll be able to do, give them that positive vibes. It helps them a whole lot. Very important. And then emotional control too. Control of your emotions. Make sure that you keep your emotions in check. This is very important. Control your emotions. I don't think I need to even really talk about this too much. When you are dealing with patients and healthcare professionals, you may have a variety of conversations. You have to talk with them a while. And in the course of talking with them, your emotions you can lose guard, and your emotions, either extreme emotions emotions or favorable ones, you definitely come to play. So it is important you are able to manage and respond and contain your emotions appropriately. When you have difficult conversations and situations, you handle it so that it would help you. You understand? Do the exercises, do the things that we have talked about. So on this note, this is 7:26, like we like to do. When it is 7:40, we will take a break, or 7:50, we'll take the 10 minutes break before 8 o'clock so we can stretch, and then we'll be back for the next session. So having finished that slide that we just went through now, we are done with communication skills. We have done justice to that topic. So now we are actually going to look at medical terminologies. Now, before I start, these medical terminologies are just some out of a whole lot. I want you to understand. Some out of a whole lot. We at BCC actually selected the ones that would come in handy, you know, that maybe you would get to see in the course of you doing your CNA work. Medical terminologies, we have a dictionary for medical terminologies, a dictionary. So you know what that means, a whole lot of words, but we are just going to look at some of them. We are going to look at some of them that are very important. So our next topic now, the next module is this medical terminologies. And before we start, I want you to visualize this scene. Just visualize it as a talking step into maybe a hospital or a nursing home, a hospital or a hospital or a nursing home where every day brings new challenges. Hospital, in a nursing home, every day brings new challenges. So, as a certified nursing assistant, you will be at the heart of patient care. I not overemphasize that. Please, if we have mics, we should mute our mics. Honestly, I don't understand. It appears that I've not been able to communicate, because communication sometimes is always maybe the communication I did not use the proper way. Please, let's kindly mute our mics and move. All right, so as I was saying, I was talking about a hospital. I said, imagine moving into a bustling hospital or a nursing home where, of course, every day comes with fresh challenges, just like every other person. Every day you get to see different, fresh challenges. So, and opportunities too to make a difference in the life of someone, the opportunities to touch a life, opportunities to do what you know how to do best. Now, as a certified nursing assistant, you'll be at the heart of care, of patient care. That is why the training they even give to doctors or nurses, I don't think they emphasize some of these things I'm emphasizing. Why? Because like you are the frontliner in the care, you interface with these people. So it is important that most of these things, you don't take them, you don't take them just on the surface. So as a CNA, you'll be at the heart of this patient's care, working closely with nurses, with doctors, and most importantly, the patients themselves. Now, but here is the catch. To truly connect with your team, you have a team. To truly connect with this team and you provide the best care that you need. I mean, the best care, to provide them the best care, these patients, you need to speak the same language. That's what I'm talking about. Remember, we are still leaning onto communication, which is also important. We need to speak the same language. Very important. So today, we are diving into the world of medical terminologies, just a few of them. Just think of it as maybe a key to unlocking a treasure chest of knowledge, maybe just a key that you need to unlock a treasure. That is, just see it like this. Now, understanding these terms is not just about memorizing the definitions. It's not about saying, what is triage? You sing it. What is this? You sing it. What is this? That's why we are not even going to delve into definitions as such. It's about empowering you to communicate effectively, to advocate for these patients, and to make sure that you enhance their care experience. So, that being said, let us delve into it and see how far we can go. So here we have what we call triage. We have what we call triage. Now, what is triage? Triage simply is a process whereby you prioritize patient's care. That is just the meaning of the triage. You prioritize patient's care. How is a patient? This one, what is this one suffering from? The other one, what is the other one suffering from? Just like that. It's as simple as ABCD. And you know you have to move around your rounds. How are you going to attend to them? Of course, without being told, you should know that you will attend to them based on the severity of the situation, based on the illnesses that they have. In a first aid situation, most of these terms, you are going to see it when we're actually having the practicals for first aid. In a first aid situation, you are going to see how you can use this triage when there is an accident scenario, an accident scene. Maybe there is an accident on the road and you see people lying down, you know, differently. One has broken bone, the other one is bleeding profusely, another person in the other side cannot even breathe. You understand? So now, what you need to do as a first aider, I'm looking at that one now. As a first aider, is you order them in the degree of the severity of what is happening to them. So of course, obviously, you have seen the bleeding one, you have seen the broken bone, you have seen the breathing, that's the bones, and then the one that is bleeding. You've seen the three of them. So in your mind now, when you look at triage from what I have said, the one breathing, the one bleeding, bleed, and then the one broken bones. I throw that question back to you. This triage, you are supposed to attend to them according to severity. So maybe you don't have enough hands. In that situation, which one is the most dangerous? The question is over to you. That's so that we understand this triage, because we are going to see, that's why I'm delving to explain. For the other ones, we'll just do the surface explanation and we move. Please, which one is supposed to be attended to first? Who is going to help us? Broken bone, bleeding, and then breathing. The person is having breathing issues, difficulty in breathing, and you need to rescue one of them, or you need to help them, you need to attend to them. Between those three, which one should come first, please?
I think breathing should come first.
Breathing. Okay.
Thank you.
Breathing.
Everyone has answered.
Breathing should come first.
Is it the bleeding or the breathing? Which one are we
Breathing.
Thank you. That is, I give you thumbs up. You are all wonderful. So wonderful. In fact, I am happy. Now, it is the breathing, because the other ones can still buy time. So if you use this triage that we would learn when we first aid, you would see that the first person to be attended to is the one having the breathing issues, because any mistake, that one is moving over, is crossing over to the other side before you now proceed. So after the breathing, which is the next one that should be attended to, remaining the bleeding and the bones, which one should be attended to? Over to us.
The bleeding.
Bleeding.
Okay. Good, the bleeding. So the first is supposed to be the breathing, and then the next is supposed to be the bleeding before you get to the person that has the bone. So why did I give that illustration? So that you understand what triage is. It's simply the process of determining the priority of patients' treatments based on the severity of their condition. So when there are issues, that's why you see even in a hospital, when people come in for treatment, they look at the ones that are emergency. That's, we have the emergency word, special, because when there is an emergency, they can ask the other people to even wait. If it's in a hospital where they don't have too many hands, attend the emergency, because that one is more serious. So now we look at gastrostomy. That's another medical terminology. Is a procedure. Okay, there is something in the chat box. Let's see, what's that? Different ways of communicating to different types of people and their situations. Thank you. Wow, yes, I forgot to acknowledge responses in the chat box. Lillian, thank you for your answer to the question. I forgot to do that when I asked for feedback from the video we watched. I've just remembered now. And gifts too, thank you. Gifts, types of communication, non-verbal, written, verbal. Thank you. And thank you too, Sarah, for the breathing, for the answer that you have typed. Thank you. So let's progress. Gastrostomy is where a tube is inserted directly into the stomach through the abdominal walls. You know, sometimes it may be difficult for someone. So a tube is actually, this tube allows for feeding when a patient cannot eat by mouth. That's gastrostomy. It's a surgical procedure. The reason I'm giving you this term is like this particular gastrostomy, a CNA is not supposed to do any surgery, and not supposed to give medication. So it's not about how it is done. Now, we are not teaching how it is done because it doesn't follow a description. It's just to know the terms in case you hear it, or in case you need to pass across, in case you need to use the words in communication to speak the same language that others would what's happening? Jessica, is Jessica here? All right. Don't know what's happening. Jessica cannot log in, and it's really not my fault. I've asked you to off it and then on it again, and that's things happen. Sorry, Jessica. I've told you to try to log in again. Okay, please hold on. Please try. Okay, sorry for that break. I had to respond because I'm trying to say, and I don't know what else really do, because sometimes network can be funny. So if anybody has a solution, please kindly drop it for Jessica. So it's not be as if you don't want to carry her along. It's just network. Okay, so I was saying that this gas is a procedure that's for, then we have the sepsis too, a life-threatening condition that is caused by the body's response to infection. You know, it occurs when the body has a severe response to an infection, leading to maybe tissue damage and organ failure. That is sepsis. We also have osteoporosis too. Osteoporosis is another condition characterized by it's characterized by weakened bones. You know, bones get weakened, and brittle bones, increasing the risk of fracture. So, a patient that has the, for instance, an elderly patient may risk for breaking a hip if they fall. Now, if frail becomes the ability for our bones, and our bone density gets weakened as you age. Like I told you, I said age can be funny sometimes, you know, so it comes. So for instance, maybe an elderly person that has osteoporosis has weakened. Imagine that person falling. That's why elderly, they fall. Not always good. It's not always good to allow them for any reason to. If you have aged mothers, fathers, grandparents, you have people that are aged, guard against their food and every other thing. It's important you guard against them falling. Anything that would stand on their way that maybe will make them to fall, you try to guard against it. Because if they fall, if an old person fall because of the weakened density in the bone, it will be disastrous. If a young person falls, you fall, you stand up because your bones are still strong, you are still very agile and strong. But an old person, no, it's not a good thing for them to start falling. By the time they start falling, it's a serious problem. So that is osteoporosis. So it is important that you help to prevent falls. Like I said, ensure that the environment is safe and free. Mobility assistance, assist them with gentle exercises, just small gentle exercises that will help them maintain the bone strength that they already have, at least at that age, and overall mobility. Encourage them to consume foods that have calcium and vitamin D that can support bone health. That's, again, is still depends on their dietary plan. So even if they have their dietary plan already, you know that you cannot alter it. Yes, but if Yeah, if it's maybe like your mother or someone that is with you, that you don't have any professional or official attachment, rather you have an informal setting with that, you can ensure that if it's not detrimental to their health, let them take things that will help their bone, because with age comes reduction in the bone density. It becomes frail. That's why old people are frail. They do some cannot stand straight, they cannot jump, they cannot do anything. And so as such, we should try to make sure that they do not fall. Then we also have pneumonia. We are all used to that. We also have pneumonia. Excuse me. And what is pneumonia? Is an infection that inflames the air sacs in one or both lungs, which may fill with fluid or pus sometimes. So, so a patient with pneumonia may experience different things, maybe cough, maybe fever, and maybe difficulty breathing. So you as a CNA, if you have such a situation, you have a patient like that, you should monitor the patient for respiratory symptoms and then report any changes to the nursing staff, because you cannot administer any medication. You cannot do what you are not supposed to. Your job description, what's a challenge that person that that the patient actually has, and report immediately. Assist with breathing exercises and proper hydration can also support recovery. Very important. Then we have constipation. We are all used to this, a condition where the bowel movements are infrequent or difficult to pass. Constipation. What can you do? Monitor bowel habits and report how the patient is doing. So if it's a patient that uses the toilet often, goes to the toilet, you assist for toileting, and then all of a sudden, maybe you observe that there is a shift in the trend, the person's bowel function or the person's bowel movements, then you should sense that all is not well and you should report. That's why you have to be on alert 24/7 so that you can really understand what to do and when to do it, because you play more of a reporting role. Very important. Okay, let's see if we can we can be done with it. We also have some of the terms that are self-explanatory. Chronic, a condition that is serious. It's an English word. That one is also an English word. It can be related to any setting. Chronic, someone can say this is a chronic illness, or this attitude is a chronic one. That is one that you keep doing, that persists over a long time. You understand? So a condition that persists over a long time requiring continuous management, diabetes or hypertension, examples such as diabetes. A diabetic person needs constant monitoring. You have to keep checking, know when the insulin should be administered, not by you, but by the medical practitioners. Because when you see the symptoms, you see the signs, you will be the one to relate, and then people that should do what they have to do will spring up and get to work. So this is very important. Then we have edema 2, which is swelling. Most times, this was one of the challenges that my late father of blessed memory had. Swelling. By the time he was actually having that prostate issue, he was having this edema. His legs, fluid were trapped in his tissues. You see his legs swollen. You see under his eyes, and you know that fluid was being retained in parts of his body, and it wasn't very, very good. So when fluid is trapped in the body tissues, that is what results. Then we also have maybe a patient with heart failure. One very major sign of heart failure is swollen feet and legs. Swollen feet. Why is it so? If you have the challenge of your feet getting swollen, or your hands getting swollen, or your patient, you observe that maybe the patient didn't come like that, it wasn't registered, the person's baseline did not have that challenge. And all of a sudden, maybe in the course of the person in the hospital, maybe due to medications and other things, you are the one that carries out the activities of daily living. So you get to see those places faster and better than the nurse. So when you are cleaning, that's part of it. When you are tidying up, doing the activities, maybe giving bed bath, and you would definitely observe those things, or taking for ambulation, you will observe those things. You observe the swelling of the parts of the body. Why is it swelling? And why is it a major symptom of heart failure? Because the heart is not pumping blood effectively. When the heart does not pump blood effectively, it causes fluid to build up in parts of the body. And what makes the heart not to pump effectively? It's problem that is attached to the heart. It's heart failure or something that's got to do with the heart. There's blockage in the flow of blood in the heart, or the electrical movements of the heart is being stampeded. It has some issues. So that is why the heart is not functioning again. And so it begins to build up fluid. So when you see these signs, you have to speak out, and something should be done. So especially those with heart issues or kidney issues is very important. Report any swelling. Help patients elevate their legs. Sometimes it could be some exercises. You help elevate their legs. Gentle exercises that can reduce this edema, sorry, not edema. What am I saying? Edema, E-D-E-M-A. So you help to raise the leg sometimes. Why? Because it helps to normalize and regulates the fluid to an extent, at least for the time being. Because if someone already has a serious heart issue, it's not easy to deal with that. You just do what you can do, and the doctors do the rest. So we have another terminology, the Fowler's position. It's a kind of position. This position is actually given to people that most people that used to have respiratory issue, maybe asthmatic, maybe respiratory issue, in short, with the lungs, because it's a position that it will help you to breathe in. Don't worry, this Fowler's position, we are going to talk about it when we have the practicals. When we show you lateral position, supine, and the prone, we are going to show you the different positions you can actually place a patient when you are trying to maybe reposition in bed. So we'll see the Fowler's position, but however, since it is here, it's just a position whereby you sit, you lean your back, you sit in a sitting position. If it's a bed, you sit, stretch your legs, make sure your back is leaned. That is the Fowler's position, so that it would aid your breathing. There will be no obstruction in the breathing movements up and down. You have a free flow. So people that used to have respiratory issues are always propped up at that angle of 45 degrees to 90 degrees, so that they will be able to actually breathe in a fresh air. So a patient with pneumonia too may be placed in Fowler's position to help them take deeper breaths and improve oxygen intake. That's it. So you can assist these patients in changing to Fowler's position. So you see that, of course, you need to know which position is Fowler's position. For instance, the nurse comes and tells you as a CNA, oh, Esther Adisa, please, can you, it's like that patient is actually having issues with breathing. Can you place that patient in a Fowler's position? So you see, you need to know how to place a person in Fowler's position. Hence, those few medical terminologies that I had to bring out. Then we have the incontinence too, refers to the ability to control urination or bowel movement. Sometimes to go to the toilet, control urine, like we talked about urinary incontinence. We talked about that yesterday, where a situation where you cannot actually pass urine. That is incontinence. You have that patient has a challenge. So it can be temporary or chronic and may affect a person's daily life. That's another thing. So you as a CNA, take for instance, maybe an elderly patient may experience this urinary incontinence leading to accidental leaks, like we call it accidents, resulting in accidents. Sometimes they get to see that before they could even hold the urine or anything, it has come out. That is what accident means, and it can be embarrassing and uncomfortable. So what can you do to help? Help them to manage incontinence by assisting with toileting needs, changing the adult briefs. We call it briefs. We call it briefs than some people will say, I went to buy. I remember one lady that used to go get these briefs for the father, who go to the supermarket, and when you see her, I remember one of the days I saw her, she was coming back from school. I asked her, ma'am, her name is Emma. I asked her, where are you coming from? She said that, I went to buy adult Pampers for my father. And the father was sitting right outside. Me, I study a lot. I immediately observed that the father's countenance, immediately I saw the way the father's face kind of dropped. You see that he was somewhat embarrassed. I mean, I visited the house and it was like, So, you know, that type of a thing. So it can be embarrassing. So we prefer to call it briefs. If you had said, oh, I went to get briefs for my father, it would have sounded mildly, you know, when we say these things, especially as caregivers in the nursing hospital setting. They can call it anything, but in the setting of someone being a caregiver, it's advised that maybe a caregiver that takes care of someone at home, or you are dealing with your parents, something that is more or less formal than the CNA setting or the hospital setting. We call it briefs because it is mild. If you say briefs, it's not that, it doesn't have that embarrassing effect like Pampers would do or diapers would do for an elderly person especially. So these are things. Then palpations, the act of examining the body for abnormalities such as maybe swellings. So what was I saying? Okay, I was talking about the incontinence, and we talked about the diapers too. So when you are actually handling someone with incontinence, sorry to take you back, ensure that you manage this by assisting the person to the toilet. Like I said, train. It could be bowel training. There's something you call bowel training, just like us mothers can relate to that. When your daughter, you know, or your child wets the bed, you try to use that bowel training. You say, okay, when is a specific time, intermittently, you wake the child, wake up, like I used to do with my daughter before she actually grew and she actually became a big girl. You know, I have to wake her and tell her, okay, it's time, wake up, because she likes to sleep with me most times. And myself and the father, she likes to sleep in between us. So you have to wake her to go and ease herself. So she'll wake up. And you find out that if you do that like twice, you will not have the issue of her wetting the bed. So I'm relating it to this. So as a CNA, you know that a person has that issue. Ensure that intermittently, occasionally, you will let the person use the toilet. And if it's a person that has mobility issues, like I said, we have many toileting devices, assistive devices. You can use the bedpan, which you would see. You can use the commode, which is a movable toilet close to the bed. There are a whole lot of things that you can do. So as a CNA, it's important for us to be very sensitive about that particular point. Then we talked about palpations too. And palpations, we said the act of examining the body. And then this dysphagia, I said it when we were talking about food. Dysphagia is it is an illness that affects people, some people, that gives them challenges. They are not able to swallow. They struggle to swallow. So with that, what can you do when you have a patient that has dysphagia? You try to ensure that the meals, based on the care plan, the meals is structured in a way that it's easy to swallow. Could be fluid intake that will be easier to swallow than a patient has. Maybe in this part of our world, a patient has dysphagia and you are going to give that patient fufu and going to give gari and going to give, you know, yam, things that are be hard that the person will struggle to swallow. So that being said, let's look at that quickly before we move. We'll still take our break. Even if it hits 7, I want to be done with these medical terminologies so that when we are back, we can look at care planning and documentation. Okay, so the next one is this anaphylaxis. It's a severe allergic reaction that can be life-threatening. You know, it's an allergic reaction. It can cause symptoms like difficulty breathing, you know, swelling of the throat, rapid heartbeat, and a drop in blood pressure. All these things come together. So it is very serious, that needs medical attention. When it happens, it always needs immediate medical attention. It can cause a whole lot of things. So a patient is allergic maybe to peanuts, for instance. Let's say maybe a patient who is allergic to peanuts may experience this anaphylaxis, you know, after consuming a peanut product, leading to maybe swelling and difficulty breathing. Most of us can relate to allergy. You know, there are some people that they take some particular things, it reacts to them. They are allergic to it. So if you have people that are allergic to things, it's very important that those people don't just take anything, because the results could be disastrous if not handled immediately. So what can you do if you have a patient with this challenge? You should be aware of the patient's allergies and show and know the signs of this particular anaphylaxis. That's the signs that you would see that will make you suspect that this is what happened to the person. Though, like I said, you are not actively involved in treatment, but you are actively involved in observing, actively involved in reading signs and reporting before these signs get worse, to help solve a particular challenge before it now becomes serious or dangerous to the person. That is our duty. So you should know how to respond in an emergency, calling for help, maybe using maybe calling immediately for help, reporting, documenting, and so on and so forth. Ensure that these patients you observe that they have this challenge, ensure that they avoid any allergy, anything that is allergic to them is part of their care, is part of your care responsibility. Very important. You can't do it all. That is true. You cannot do it all. Like Fatima had said, I keep referring to that. All these things I'm saying, it looks as if it's too much. And some of you say, will I be able to do this? This thing, am I really sure that I'll still want to travel and get visa-sponsored job to go over to the moon or to go over to the sun? Some of you will be asking yourself with all these things. I know I can walk a mile into your minds. But what I want to tell you is that there's nothing as honorable as being able to affect a person's life. I just know that there is no work. I tell people there is no job. Like I told you that I was a teacher. I have taught for years, like teaching for years before I now had to get my certifications to move higher, to move from one stage to another. And to God be the glory. I am trying to be who I should be, you know. So there's nothing I have seen in all professions. I've looked left, right, front, back. I've acquired a whole lot of certifications. I have gone to school at least to an extent, but I can tell you the gospel truth that there is nothing as honorable, there's nothing as fulfilling as you seeing someone that you are taking care of. You see someone before your eyes that you are taking care of, getting better. You see that the little things you try to do every day is making this person to get better. The person sees you and the person's face lights up with smile. Maybe you get into the word like that and the person sees you, say, oh, Nurse Fumi, oh, it's, you know, we'll be so excited. Oh, Nurse Modupe or CNA, whatever, you know, healthcare worker, any name. Just seeing you makes them feel, yes, at least I am loved. Some things you can talk to them can go a long way in disorientating them. That's giving them a different mindset from them thinking that they already have a death sentence. They can still just seeing you, just seeing the little gestures you do can make them to know that there is actually light at the end of a tunnel. So you see, there's nothing as honorable as that. You count money in the bank, it's not as honorable as that. You teach, it's not even as honorable as that. The only honorable profession is for you to lend a hand to somebody, just like the Good Samaritan that we have in the Bible. The story of the Good Samaritan, we all know that others didn't do any honorable act. They just left. They were not interested, as happens in the world today, as happens everywhere they move. But one person that had that heart decided to help. And that is why that person has single-handedly made us to have the history of first aid and Red Cross that we do today. So I don't need us to move away. I just want to appeal to your consciences, because the more people we have in this field that have these mindsets, the better it will be for us. We'll be able to revamp the structure and give it the face that God originally ordained it to be. So we want to look at acute, being acute now. Something that is acute comes on suddenly and is typically severe in nature, requiring immediate attention. That's well explanated. I mean, explanatory is explanatory. Then repositioning too, we will look at that. That's another skill. You know, when we get to skill, I'll tell you skill. Repositioning is another skill, how to turn on the bed to avoid bed sores, to have pressure wounds, and so on and so forth. What to do every 2 hours. You have a bedridden patient, you know, you have to turn. And of course, turning needs, you have to learn the skills. That's one of the things we learn. You don't just turn the way you turn anybody that is not having any issue. You just turn, move. Or you say, carry, lift your leg, lift your hand, move to reposition. So that is repositioning. Then we have the ambulation too, ability to walk independently or with assistance. BID, brought in dead. This is an acronym. We are going to see just a few acronyms behind the next slide before we go. Some people are already, we'll take the next module is not very voluminous. So we have things like this, NPO, nothing by mouth. So sometimes there could be some abbreviations. When you see this NPO or you want to minute it in the course of your documentation, NPO, you can use the abbreviations, NPO, nothing by mouth. The patient shouldn't take anything by mouth. Then intravenous, IV, we already know that in IV, intravenous injection, when you have to pass something through the injection through the vein, which we are not supposed to do. You just know We are just supposed to know what it means. PRN, as needed, as it is needed. You only take that medication needed, only when necessary. Then ROM, range of motion, the way you would rub the joints. There's a range of motion we'll also learn when we are taking care of people that have joints issues, that have maybe arthritis, issues with their joints, what you do, how you can help them do exercises, massage the knee, the joints to ensure that there is in fact, physical therapy, let's just say, so you give them physical therapy. So SOB, shortness of breath, indicating difficulty in breathing. TID, 3 times a day for medications that are prescribed 3 times a day. So this being said, please, I would like us to take a little 10 minutes break now, and then we'll be back for the last slide, which is just a few. And today we won't reach that 9 o'clock, so be rest assured, because I know a lot of us are tired. But I'm trying I'm praying that you are not tired, that at least we follow up. So please, can everybody hear me? I have not asked for quite some time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am,
Thank
we
you,
can
Mr.
hear you.
Chigozie. Mr. Chigozie is the only person that has heard me. God.
We can hear you.
Are we together? Is it only Mr. Chigozie that is listening?
We can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, ma.
Hello.
Hi.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay. We are back. We are back from the kitchen, the women. Are we back from the kitchen? Because it's only Mr. Chigozie that was here. So I thought that you have left me. So if you are in the kitchen preparing food, remember that Dr. Mrs. Dorothy needs food. Send it to my mail. You can send the food for me.
We'll send it
so
to
I
your
can
mail.
eat.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
yours now because I'm
Please, let's
eating
take
now.
our 10 minutes break. Just 10 minutes. So we'll
Okay.
be back. This is 8:02. So let's say we'll be back by 8:10. Mathematics
Nice.
students. Yes, we should be back by 8:10 or 8:11 dot. What we have is not much. This next module will be done in no time. Thank you so much. Please, is that okay by us? Can we take a break now?
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma.
Thank you.
Yes, ma.
Are we together? Our time is up. Hello.
We are here. We are with you, ma. We are here. We never
Like
left.
most of us did not even, yes, that's what I want to say. I'm sure most of us didn't even stand up. We didn't even.
We never
Okay,
left.
somebody said somebody has outrightly accepted that he was in the kitchen. I'm trying to see who that person is because that person owes me. Okay, you send mine. That's good. So there is no point. You've already said you send mine, so I'll be expecting it. Okay. You're welcome. I'm sure we're able to stretch our legs and to have a little, taking a little fresh air and take a cup of water. Okay, so now we are going to be looking at the last but not the least, which is quite short for the evening. We don't have much to do. Let's see the number that is here. The class prefect, do your duty. Ensure that you give me the names of people that are back. Class prefect. Thank you. I don't want to, those days. That's what I'm saying. Those days when we were in school, if you know your class prefects, you like to make friends with your class prefects. So your class prefect. So that's why I decided to make the person.
Who is our class prefect, ma?
This person is anonymous.
Okay.
Anonymous. I've refused to tell anybody, so nobody would. They just know the person has taken names of those people that. All right, thank
The
you.
person should write my name. The person I will catch him on.
All right.
I catch it online.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you. You are such wonderful people.
You would actually want my wedding with that. Yeah, can't say call my AirPod. So I'm
Okay, so now we want to look at
what they give that this thing. Hey, that was license, sir. Come on, you talking me up now.
Okay, please, let's mute.
Mute.
They are not in driving class.
Temporary
driving.
I like temporary one. I got no 3 months.
Okay.
Before the main one.
Communication is either the person is not hearing us or the person does not understand the language. To mute. That's where we are having the challenge. Communication is very important. Okay, let's go ahead. We are talking about care planning and documentation. That is the last slide for the evening. Okay, thank you everybody for muting. Now, imagine, the reason I like to say imagine is if anytime I say imagine, you are actually imagining, you will understand better what I am saying. Now, imagine you walking into a hospital room, maybe on your shifts, walking into a hospital room, and then maybe you come across an elderly woman along the line, maybe in one of the rooms, who has just had maybe a surgery, maybe a hip surgery or leg surgery, has just had a hip surgery. Let's just take that. As you introduce yourself, which is the tradition, you notice the look of worry in her eyes. Most of us, you can relate to that situation if you imagine it. Now, she wants to know how she will recover because most of these people will corner you and ask, this is my hip surgery. I find it that I cannot even walk. I find it very difficult to walk. Please, when will I get better? When will I be able to use my legs again? She wants to know how she will recover and when she will walk again. and what you are going to do to help her to work. Like, you see, you are a CNA, so she will talk to you now. She wants you to really understand her plight. Now, picture the scenario that I've just given you. As a CNA, you are not just there to assist with her daily activities. You play a very crucial role in her recovery journey. That's why she asked you how you are going to help her, you know, to make sure that she's able to work as soon as possible. Now, you check her care plan, which outlines her specific needs, her goals, and the steps that she needs for rehabilitation. Okay, you notice that she needs help with pain management. Maybe she's having pains, you know, managing the pain. You know, we talked about pain as one of the vital signs. So maybe you have done it and they have done it, and pain is one of the challenges that she has, managing pain, and wants to regain her independence. But here's the catch. I want you to listen carefully. If you don't document her progress accurately, that's this particular Mrs. Thompson, if you don't document her progress accurately and update her care plan, now at that point that she has met you and she has spoken what she has spoken to you, if you don't reach out, you document what she has just told you, express her challenges to the care team members through documentation, her healthcare team may miss this vital information that could affect her recovery. So, you see, your notes could be the difference. You see that we are talking about documentation now and care planning. That's just that thing that you have documented. Your notes can actually be the difference between a smooth recovery for Mrs. Thompson and a setback. So it's in between the two. You see how powerful documentation is. See how powerful your notes is. That's what I just wanted to give you that introduction. So visualize. Documentation is very important. Reporting is very important. Care planning, because when you document, the care plan is actually updated, like we talked about yesterday also. When we had the vital signs, the care plan keeps being updated because the person came in with this. You have to update. You talk about the level of assistance. Maybe the person used to want 2% assistance. Now the person now wants 10% assistance. It's now being very clear that the person is not getting better. You understand, but it's getting worse. So these things, information is very important. Documentation is really important. It's about one of the things that is in the heart of care as a certified nursing assistant. Very, very important. So now, let us see, like we have here, what is a care plan? Care planning is simply a process of identifying a patient's needs and setting goals for the care. Now, the original person that puts together a care plan, I want you to understand, the person that puts together a care plan is a nurse, is a registered nurse. I want you to get that. Now, you as the certified nursing assistant, you work hand in hand with the care plan of the nurse to ensure that the patient has the care that is required. Now, the care plan is not cast on concrete because it has to be updated as to suit the patient's current needs or challenges and goals as to how to be able to surmount the hurdles and how to be able to actually give the best care that can be given to the patient. That's where the care planning comes in. Whoever and whatever anybody does, if you don't plan, you cannot achieve anything. There is this saying that you plan to fail. Oh, sorry, you fail to plan. It means that you have planned to fail. If you fail to plan for anything, then already you have already failed because you have not planned. So now, for a nurse in a nursing setting where patients come in with their different challenges, with their in a nursing home, I beg your pardon, or in a hospital where patients come with different challenges. As the patients are, as their challenges are, so are their care plans. There's no one specific kind of care plan. It's not cast on concrete, like I like to say. You know, it depends on the person. So A comes with a different challenge, B comes with a different challenge. So you cannot take verbatim what is in A's a care plan and administer it to B. You are going to be a total failure. So care planning comes into the picture. Very important. So when a patient comes in, this is how it goes. the patient comes in with whatever challenge that brought patient to the hospital. In most situations, whether to hospitalize, whether in secondary care or whatever, we are talking about the total care planning. You understand? So the nurse, after the due process, following the vital signs, checking everything, the doctor diagnosis, and so on and so forth, now the care plan is now put together based on the contribution. Okay, the doctor have diagnosed that this is this. Okay, as such, especially for a person that is going to be under maybe long-term care that needs monitoring and close supervision, especially, not that others are not also covered with this in this particular point I'm talking about. Now, when it is like that, they'll now sit down and look at it. What is the challenge? What is the baseline? What is the challenge this person brought? Okay, look at studies, history. Maybe if a person that a family doctor or something, look at history of the trend of what that person has actually needed medical services for, medical help. They look at everything, put it together and say, okay, this is how we can best serve this person having this hip issue. We need to have this form of exercise. We need to do this. We need to do therapy. We need to talk to the person, let the person build his or her own, to be able to take the bull by the horns, to be prepared to actually try to walk. So we don't take away the independence. A lot of things are put together to come up with a care plan. Then a care plan is something that is written in pencil. What do I mean? I don't mean it is written in pencil, but I'm making a figurative statement. Now, is it written in pencil? Because anything written in pencil can easily be cleaned. It's not cast on concrete. If you write something on pencil, it's easier. It's much easier to clean from pencil than you clean with something that is printed or with pen. So a care plan is more or less written in pencil. It's a figurative statement, such that as the person is getting better, they are improving, or they are changing those aspects on the care plan. If maybe this person is getting used to this particular drug, the body has assimilated, the drug does not have any impact, the drug has to be changed, it's affected in the care plan. Everything is included in the care plan so that people can have a correct, how do I put it, teamwork. They can be effective teamwork because everybody can they can be on the same page, let me say so. So one of the things that is important is why it is important. It ensures personalized care because it gives that patient, you center the care, tailor the care to patient's needs. That is very important. Tailor it just as you tailor a dress. So my own dress may fit me differently from the way another person's dress, maybe maybe the way her dress is. We may not be of the same size, so our patients different. So every patient, the care plan is tailored to meet that patient. Even if you are not a CNA, even if you are a caregiver, anything, the way you render your caregiving services to this person will not be the same things, the same level of assistance, or the same dietary restrictions with another person. People have real issues that are different. So that is just it. So it helps you to personalize the care to fit the person. Now, the patient's outcome too, facilitating communication among the healthcare teams. These are the very important aspects of care, the importance of a care plan. So like I said, this side is not very much, but we'll have a couple of illustrations so that you will understand. Now, care planning process, collecting patients' information. I've already talked about that. The medical history, physical assessments. Yes, please. I hope no one wanted to say something. Okay, so identifying the patient problem based on assessment, the risk for falls due to weaknesses, that's diagnosis. Now, if you look at this, assessment is different, diagnosis. How do you diagnose? Identify the patient's problem based on assessment. We do not diagnose. That doesn't fall under CNA's job description, but it's important for you to know. Risk for falls due to weakness is always included in the care plan, so that if you know that this person is prone to falling or the person is susceptible to falling, then there is how they will tailor it. The person does not need things, rigorous things or things that will actually involve or certain measures will be put in place, safety measures to ensure that the place is free from clutters, is free from blocks, is kept free, so that anytime the person wants to walk for any reason, the person cannot bump on anything, you have a straight place. So there are many things that we actually look at goals to improve mobility. So you too have to set goals for yourself. How are we going to achieve this set goals? How are you going to achieve? What is the goal? What do you think you can actually do for Mrs. Thompson? You know, so these are things that we need to set achievable goals. We'll get there. Don't set goals that you feel that you can actualize, but it's impossible. Now, components of a care plan. Okay, components of a care plan. This is what we want to look at. Now, goals and objectives. In every care plan, what do you hope to achieve? This person came in with arthritis. What do you hope to achieve at the end of the day? Those are the goals. And like every other thing, we have this acronym that we say we use, SMART, S-M-A-R-T, as you can see there. Okay, so now this acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So when you set your goals, ensure that you carry these things. Now I must explain this now. Permit me, we still have time. Now, goals, your goals should be clear. When we talk about specific, we are looking at the S now. Goals should be clear and specific, addressing what needs to be achieved. Very important. Now, instead of specific goals, now, instead of saying, my goal is to improve mobility, that is not a specific goal. That is a broad goal to improve mobility. You have not given any specific, it's not specific. Let me just say so. So instead, you can decide to say, my goal would be the patient would be able to walk 10 meters or 10 feet, with a walker. At least that is an achievable goal. But for you to say improve mobility, it cannot be measured. That particular goal cannot. So you see the difference between what we mean by specific. State it clearly. Like I remember when I used to be a teacher, they'll say, state your goals. And you find out that some people, so many years ago, some people say, my goal is this child came in, the child could not spell. At the end of the term, the child should be able to spell words. That's a very, very pregnant goal. That's, pregnant. Nobody knows what will come out of a pregnant woman, whether, until the person gives birth. So it's a goal that you cannot easily achieve. Rather, like I used to tell them, and even when I started consulting for most of the schools, I used to tell them that your teachers shouldn't set such goals. They should set goals that are specific. Okay, at the end of the term, Peter would be able to read 3-letter words. That is a goal that is specific. So at the end, they can measure, you can also measure yourself based on that goal. Because at the end of the term, you would see if Peter can actually, and if Peter can can pronounce 3-letter words, then good, you have achieved your goal. But when you set a pregnant goal, a goal that doesn't have limits, you can spell. So what if you say Peter can spell, and someone walks in and says, Peter, please spell photosynthesis. And Peter is not able to spell the photosynthesis, then you have failed as a teacher because you have not achieved your goals. So that is why specific is very, very important. A patient will be able to walk at least 10 feet with a walker. At least that is a goal that can be achieved, all things being equal. So I had to bring that so that you would understand what I'm saying. So 10 feet, 50 feet, just set a goal. Now, specific actions to achieve the goal. Also very important. When you set the goal, put specific actions in place. How will you help? Maybe with daily exercises, or you do therapy, conduct therapy on the joints so that it will help movement. The things you will do, set the goals. The things that you will do that will help you to achieve that particular patient being able to walk 10 feet with a walker. Those are the things that we need to do. Then assist the patients with daily mobility exercises. That's one of the interventions. At the end, assess your progress and modify the care plan as needed. If the patient at the end of the day, as a CNA, the patient came and was not able to really walk, and it's part of your duty, you help do all those things, activities of daily living, you've set a goal for yourself, and at the end of the day, you yourself assess your progress and then modify the care plan. If the person is able to walk 10 feet, with a walker, you have achieved your goal. But the thing is, the care plan will not remain like that, because the person can then walk 10 feet. The next target you are having now is you will try to see how the person can walk up to 20 feet or 15 feet. to go further. So as such, the care plan that you set 10 feet as your goal cannot still be obtainable. It has to be changed. So you see, to meet the new target, to meet the new goals that you have set, you understand, after a week. So you keep adjusting this goals. So another thing is, excuse me, another thing is we've talked about, we've talked about the SMART. I was just trying to explain to you specific goals. And then the M means measurable. There should be criteria for measuring your progress towards the goal, like I already talked about it. The patients would maybe increase their fluid intake to so amount a day. Measurable. We have achievable goals too. Now, your goals should be realistic and attainable. Just as I was giving you that illustration of a teacher, don't set network off, all of it sudden. Please, I don't know, but however, all right, I've shared my screen. I would like to know, is it visible? Can we see? Is it clear? The network just came in.
Yes, it's clear. We can see.
It's very clear.
I thank God. Network just, it has really favored me today. So we are almost getting to the end. So everybody should beg network for me not to do anything again. All right, now we're talking about achievable goals. Like I was saying before the network interruption, I was saying that set goals that are achievable. Don't set goals that you yourself know you cannot achieve. Don't. Set little goals. Instead, when you set those achievable goals, you can upgrade them as as need arises, not to set goals that are unattainable, that are unachievable. You cannot. Like I was saying, setting a goal to say that a child will be able to spell words fluently. I mean, to read passages. Let me take passages. Maybe read passages fluently. No. If you do that, for a child, you know the child's age, you know this time. If you do that, you cannot achieve it. And there's nothing myself personally, I hate like setting goals that I cannot achieve. It frustrates me. So I try to do what I can do within my own limits before I step up like that gradually. So it's very important. The patient will perform, maybe a range of motion exercises 3 times a week. That is a goal. That is something that you can achieve. It's in the care plan. So you try to ensure that that patient is actually able to perform that range of motion exercise, is able to carry out that exercises at least 3 times a week or 2 times, depending on how it is. So not for you to just set goals that is not reasonable. Very important. Okay. Now, this is achievable if the patient is physically able and has the support needed. So you see way many things before you set your goals. Make sure there are goals that can actually be attained, that can actually be reached, could actually come to fruition, can work. Okay, now relevant. Goals should be relevant to the patient's needs and align with their overall care plan. Very important. Set goals that align with their care plan. Do not say, okay, maybe someone will say, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy said we should set goals. So you go ahead and set goals the way you want. No. There should be goals that will align with the patient's care plan. You don't set goals that are off. Already, you know what is this person's challenge. You know what the person is here in the hospital for. You know how best you can help this person in the line of care that person actually needs. The hospital has permitted you to give, and it's in his or her care plan. So you move within that limit and you ensure that you do what you need to do. You set relevant goals that relate to, that aligns rather with the overall care plan of the patient. Now, the patients, for example, this could be a relevant goal that you can set. The patients would participate in daily respiratory exercises to improve lung function. Maybe someone that had pneumonia Someone that has had pneumonia and the person is just recuperating, maybe recovering from having pneumonia, it is something that is relevant. It's in line with the recovery needs. It's in line with the care plan of a person like that to actually have respiratory exercises that will help improve the function of the lungs after having pneumonia. So you see, any goal should align with what is actually in the care plan and what is actually the challenge. Now we look at T, which is the time bound. T is for time bound. So set time bound goals. Goals should have specific time frame. That's important for completion. Give yourself a time frame, which helps you create a sense of urgency and focus, because anything that doesn't have a time frame, imagine, like for me, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy, I like to, people that have had my trainings, that I like to explain a lot. I like to talk, maybe because I'm coming from a teaching and from the teaching angle. Now I like to do a lot of explanations, and there is just nobody that passes through my training that will not understand. In fact, like my mother used to say, anytime she comes around and I have my training, she'll tell me that anybody that passes through, no matter what, no matter how the head is, or no matter how or where the person's educational level, the person will scale through because of
Yes,
and that is what gives me the happiness, because people are different, and so you have to handle people depending on certain factors. Everybody does not learn the same. So why am I saying this? Now, time bound. Imagine you not giving me timing for this training. Maybe BCC now said, oh, Dr. Mrs. Dora, do what you know how to do best. Just go ahead. I would do it till somebody like me, I would teach till morning. The only thing I'll just be taking water. I can teach till the next morning. I will not even be conscious of time. But when you set time boundaries, it creates a sense of urgency. People begin to work within a particular time frame. So it is in this, our CNA duty, you have to give yourself a time frame. For instance, because the time frame will help you to create a sense of urgency and focus. Most importantly, you focus to hit your target within that time frame. Very important. So the patient will achieve the goal of walking 50 feet independently within 2 weeks. Now you've given yourself a timing, 2 weeks. This sets a clear deadline for progress. So even after that 2 weeks, you'll be able to assess your progress based on the time frame that you have given. So putting it all together, when you are developing a care plan, it is important that you use SMART goals. So a CNA may write, let me just give you a summary. A CNA may just maybe write, the patient will walk 50 feet with a walker without assistance as measured by a walking test. Measured by, that's the measurable aspect of it, measured by a walking test within 2 weeks. It has taken care of it. It has taken care of the specific 50 feet. It has taken care of the measurable 2 weeks. It has taken care of the time bound, giving you the 2 weeks time bound. So this goal is achievable given the patient's current level of mobility and relevance to their rehabilitation needs, if the person is actually depending on the challenge the person has. So everything put together is very, very important. So summarily, these are some of the things that a CNA has to do in care planning. Your role: you gather vital signs, observation, and give patients feedback. We have already talked about documents daily weight, dietary implementations, and also interventions as it is in the care plan. Assisting with mobility exercises and reporting changes. Communication, we cannot overemphasize. All these things are things we have already talked about. They have just come in a little deviation, in a slightly different aspect under this topic. Now, also documentation. It is important that you document the patient's information, what kind of care provided, what resulted, your plans. Okay, this is what I hope to do. This is my goal, and so on and so forth. Why? Your documentation is important, not only for you to follow up, but for legal reasons too, so that if anything happens, the facility can be exonerated. If you keep good records, you keep adequate records, there is especially written records. I always tell people that what you don't write, well, to a large extent, cannot be considered document. That's what I tell people. What you just say, like as I'm talking to you, if it's not recorded, if they don't give it to you, later you see me and say, doctor, this is what you said. I can tell you if I'm not trustworthy, I can tell you I did not say that. And of course, there's no evidence. There's nothing to prove that I said it. Even if all of you on the platform said I said it, I could say I did not say it because I did not document it. It was not sealed. It was not stamped. It was not delivered. So how I can easily say that if I want to gamble with my integrity, you understand? So it's always good to have something written in case of any problem. If there are legal issues, there are legal issues, you can exonerate yourself. The facility can exonerate themselves. It is important. And it's good for the records to have it there for continuity of care because when you document something, another person coming the next shift, this thing smooth shifts. Another person on the next shift can come around and then see the document and say, okay, this is what, so on. This person is really, really funny in the chat box. He said, book no lie. Jessica. Yes, Jessica, I'm happy to have you because you were one of those that wanted me to need a caregiver at this point because I was wondering why you could not log in. When I read your comments, I was a bit worried. Hello, Jessica. Can you hear me? Okay. Perhaps Jessica cannot hear me. And then Jessica too, that reminds me. You talked about the fact that you were being muted. It's not here. There is something wrong. Maybe if there's someone that really knows the dynamics of Zoom over there where you are there in Ghana, please, maybe you tell the person to look at it. All the participants here can actually unmute themselves and talk when they want to talk. They are not muted, at least to the best of my knowledge. They are not muted. You can unmute and then talk. That's why there are background noise when any mic is not muted. You hear what is happening in the background where that person is coming from, that person. So you had complained about the muting thing. It's actually not from our end. Maybe you don't, I don't know, maybe there's something wrong in the muting. Just look for the muting, the button where you can mute and unmute. It will help you. Or you ask someone to show you, because I know you would have responded to me now. Maybe you are still having that muting, that issue of being muted. Certainly
Yes,
it isn't from here. Jessica, is that you?
yes, Auntie.
Okay, so that means the issue has been rectified.
Yes,
all right.
I just unmute.
All right, thank you. So let's go ahead quickly. So we're talking about continuity of care, the reason why we should actually document. Documentation is very important for clarity's sake, for clarity, very important. Document for clarity in case of anything. Document to track progress. Document to engage patients. Set clear goals. Document anything that happens so that you have that cordial relationship with, interface to be able to talk, relate, best help the patient in that situation. So now we also have the key elements of documentation. When we are documenting, it's very important that you take it seriously. Accuracy, precise, factual. Make sure that your documentation is precise, is straight to the point. Anybody understands it. Your handwriting, if you are to write, is legible, is clear that even a blind man can see what you have written. Because, medical practitioners, when it comes to handwriting, sometimes it's only God that will deliver us. So, but you have to still try to make your handwriting legible. That's if you are not using if you are not if you don't have to use a computer. That one has got nothing to do with handwriting. You understand? But if it is written, please write what someone can see. Timeliness. As soon as you are done with the care, document it. It's important you document whatever you do because people are different. Somebody like me, if I don't document that time, there's every tendency that I may not remember it vividly. So, but there are very, very sharp people that will be able to, document those things. So I remember even after hours they have finished it, but it is advised that immediately you take a particular reading, maybe vital signs or anything you need to document, at that point, checking the patient, monitoring, do it immediately. Don't wait until. Forget about the shifts you have. It's better to do just 3 or 4, attend to 3 or 4 people than you not documenting something that will boomerang, that will cause effect, will have issues with you, because by the time you actually have the issues, you will not remember you won't remember to actually you won't remember that you have not finished your rounds. So it's important that we document. Recording medication administration immediately. You are not supposed to record administration of medication. I mean, I beg your pardon. You are not supposed to administer medication. Please, I made a mistake. You are not supposed to, but you are supposed to document medication that is administered, either by the nurse or you, if it's a medication that the patient has to take by himself or herself, because there are some medications like that in some situations, maybe in a home, at home or something, and you are privy to be there, you have to document it. Protect patients' privacy, confidentiality, very important. The files, let only people, authorized persons, have access to what you have documented within the period that particular document is with you. You are supposed to keep it safe from people doctoring documents. You understand? So privacy is important. Whatever documents of your clients, only authorized personnel are actually supposed to have access to that document. Of course, the documents, except your personal own, is the hospital's property. So sometimes it may not be with you, so you are not answerable to what happens. But when it is in your care, do not keep it carelessly. Do not keep files. I used to see some hospitals, after checking, they will hand over the file to the patient to take to the pharmacy, to the pharmacy for drugs, which is wrong. It's not supposed to be in the hands of the patients. It's wrong. If you are done with whatever you have to do, the nurse or the nurse assistant has to take the file to the pharmacy where the patient can take medications, because anything can happen. You may never know in that interface. So it is important that some of these things, we are careful with how it goes. Best practices, we have talked about that: clear and concise, standard abbreviations, ensure that everything is documented well. Straight to the point, do not put opinions, don't. I think, I feel, no, straight to what you observe. Real facts that anybody can observe. Those are the things that needs to be documented, not something that they ask you, you cannot actually state the facts as to how they happen. So last but not the least, I think this is our last slide for the evening. We are going to be looking at common documentation errors. Common errors that we make in the course of documentation. I'm going to try to be brief. I don't just want us to read it, but I want you to have some just little knowledge about it. Thank God, time is still favoring us. We will be done before 9 p.m. by God's grace. So now these are some errors and certain important details, we lose guard of it. We fail to document patients' reactions to a new medication. Maybe the patient is placed on another medication and we have observed, we have seen what has happened. We fail to document it. And when you don't document it, even if reporting is different, you can tell somebody something verbally. It doesn't mean anything. You have to document it so that even if it's not that person, the next person will see what the challenge was actually and will continue. There will be continuity in the line of care. Very important. Check your lists. Create a checklist of key observations to include in your documentation. Make it a habit to document immediately after you provide the care so that you can capture all the relevant information, relevant details that is needed. Illegible handwriting, we can't overemphasize that. I had already talked about it. Even if you are not writing, if you have to switch to electronic documentation systems, maybe using the computer, always print if writing by hand to read, to enhance readability so that someone will be able to read it. We have talked about handwriting. So documenting subjective opinions too is very important. Writing personal judgments about a patient's behavior, such as the patient is difficult, subjective. Stick to objective observations. Document facts and specific behavior. If you say the patient is difficult how? Was the patient difficult when in eating? Did the patient actually pose a challenge in terms of eating? Or the patient refused to have, maybe to brush the teeth? make it specific. Don't give ambiguous pregnant statements. Don't give ambiguous statements. Make sure that it is objective. Very important. Now, late entries. We've talked about documenting care provided days later. Maybe you just remembered, oh, that yesterday when I wanted to take, and that's too late. You have already finished the shift. You just wake up from sleep and remember that you're supposed to document that. That is late entry. You are trying to see how to do it. That interface between when you're supposed to record it and when you do not, you are now remembering. Lots of water may have gone under the bridge. Things may have gone wrong. So it's important that we document at the right time. Not following protocols too. Not adhering to facility policies for documentation. Now, maybe such as not signing, maybe entries properly, you know, your documentation, you have to sign, you have to follow due process. Every facility, they have their own policies. They may be common. They may have some in common. That's that you go to this facility, go to this one is the same, but some are different. So anytime you find yourself in any facility as a certified nursing assistant, you must adhere to the rules and regulations that govern that place, except it does not align with your integrity, with your this. And if it happens like that, you follow due process in addressing it. This is important. Okay. Familiarize, we're still talking about protocols. Familiarize yourself with the facilities documentation policies and procedures. Attend training sessions and review guidelines regularly. Attend trainings, because when you actually become a CNA, it's not only all these things that I'm teaching. When you get there, depends on the countries like UK, they'll give you their own on-the-job training. It's always done. They give you on-the-job training, which lasts for a period of time, depending on the countries. But I can categorically tell you about UK and US. They do that. They'll give you their on-the-job training. Why? So that you can marry what you already know from where you are coming from with what is obtainable there. You have a way of merging it and marrying it so that you don't fall short of your expectations in the course of doing that, which is good. It happens to any job setting. You still have to be given some on-the-job form of training, you know, before everything fits into place. So that is it. Then failure to use terminologies. Failure to use correct terminologies, using layman's terms instead of proper medical terminologies, especially when you need to document, when you really need to do documentation. Now, learn and use the ones that are relevant to you so that communication can be effective. Updating care plans too, not updating care plans, not reporting and not liaising with the nurse to update care plans. This person can move 50 feet now with a walker. Okay, let's try to update it to be 60 feet with the walker and so on and so forth. Okay, the person is getting better now. Is this updating the care plan? Okay, then confidentiality, which is the last but not the least for tonight, for the slide. You have to keep your patient's information confidential. I've already said that. And don't discuss information in public areas or leaving documents unsecured. I've already said that. You can drop your documents 1 second. Things happen. Aside the ethical considerations, you can even have someone that wants your downfall. Let's not even talk about ethically. It could even be a fellow CNA, your colleague or something that wants your downfall. So if that person can doctor your documents if you don't keep it properly. If you don't keep it confidential, the world is very, very bad. So you don't have to lose guard at any point. So keeping your documents confidential, your patient's documents confidential is very important. Use secure methods. If it is computerized, thank God we have locks, we have codes, you can store things and lock it to avoid people actually accessing it, except the members of the healthcare team that are authorized personnel. So that being said, by being aware of these common documentation errors, I just decided to bring them up and implementing the strategies that we have learned to avoid them happening. CNAs, you as CNAs can actually improve the quality of your documentation, enhance your patient's care, maintain compliance with healthcare bodies, and then you will be the best that you can ever be in any place that you find yourself. So at this point, like I told you, that I will not hit 9 today, no matter what. I won't hit 9 o'clock, and I want to keep to it so we can actually rest. So this being said, this is the A to Z of what we have for today. We had for today communication skills, terminologies, and then the care planning and documentation. So Are we together? Do we have any question? Do we have any contribution? It's too quiet. It's just quiet.
We are together.
Nobody is talking. Thank you.
We are together, man.
We are together, please.
Okay, we have come to the
We
end.
are together.
So I'm going to see the first person that will actually send me maybe something to eat virtually. You know, now technology has done, you can send me something virtually, something to drink, because I've actually done a lot of talking. So on that note, if we don't have any question, I'd love to let you rest. But I'll just want you to know certain things. The first is, God willing, by tomorrow, before the end of tomorrow, you'll have these slides. Like I gave you day 1 and day 2. So I'm going to give you day 3 and day 4. I'm going to drop the slides, God willing, before tomorrow ends, because I'm very, very a bit, you know, now. So I'll drop the slides tomorrow on the page for everyone. And what else did I want to say? Okay, then secondly, please, one of the benefits of you taking this training, because we like to keep to our word. That's what Andy Smart Solution is known for. We like to keep to our word. What we don't do, we don't tell you we do. Just like recruitment, we made it clearly and we sound it to anybody that you're taking training with us does not automatically mean that we will take your hand and take you wherever you want to be. So we say it clearly. So you have that informed knowledge, you know, to carry out any decision. So, but the things, those list of things we said we're going to do, we will actually do them, because honesty is very important. So for your, what do we call that? For your CVs, please, it's important that the earlier you send it across, the better. I'm going to drop the specialist that handles those CVs for us I'm going to drop his contact in the the group, the registered group. So you're advised to drop your CV, because he does a lot of, we have a couple of trainings. We have professional diploma in caregiving level 4 coming up soon. So we just finished certified healthcare assistant, and we have a couple of other trainings. So the earlier you drop it, the better, so that he can take it one at a time. And before you are done with the training, like before you are done that next week, you'll be able to have your CV. Now, some people may ask, okay, what about this? If your CV is for you to give him what you already have, because we wouldn't know what you already have. You are all new people. Most of you are new, except for the people that have taken a lot of trainings with us. So let us have what you have, and what you have, we'll work on it, like we talked about restructuring, to ensure that we put it together to meet international standards. There are different types of CVs. At least if we can give you the 2 major types, we give you the Europass, we give you the other one, it would help you in case you want to apply for any job using the links that we would give you eventually when we are done with upon graduation. So please send your CV as it is, and then we would impute the CNA as one of the courses you have taken from BCC UK, pending when you will be given your certificate. That's important. So please do that. Also, right now, that's only for people that are interested, not for everybody. We are actually going to, I think next week or thereabouts, we are going to, or after next week, there's going to be a training for people that are interested. So many people have, you know, indicated interest that they want to take the professional diploma in CPR and first aid training. Now, it is for people that already have healthcare certifications that don't have that certificate, and they want it. It's not by force. It's not compulsory. It has nothing to do with your payment for the training. It's just a different engagement. People that just finished certified healthcare assistant training, a couple of them, about maybe 16 or 18 of them, want to take the diploma in CPR and first aid, because it's very important to have that as a. So if you are, please, this is just a personal arrangement. If you if you wish to take it with us, please let me know. Just let me know. Maybe you can indicate in the group, or you get to my private DM. The reason is, anybody that takes any training with us is under our alumni community. We have a very big, large community. If you are under our alumni community, towards the end of the year, this Ember month, we have discounts for members of the alumni community. So if now, eventually taking one training with us, you are already a member of the alumni community, so you can benefit from that discounted price now because it's a diploma, and you know, just like caregiving, it's expensive, but because of what always happens this Ember month, it is discounted. So if you wish to seize that opportunity, please reach out to me. Or if you don't want to take it with us, it's not cast on concrete. It is important that you reach out, Facebook, anywhere, you reach out and ensure that you have that certification to give you that edge that we are actually looking for you to have a job. So that being said, I think I don't have any other thing to say. If I have any, I'll drop it on the group. Over to Andy Smart Solutions, so I don't hit 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Hello, ma.
Okay, please go
Hello,
ahead.
ma.
Yes, Miranda, I think, are you
I'm
the
very sorry. Please, I have a question that I want to ask you.
Okay.
Please,
Right on.
this training that we are doing, just for confirmation, this is MVQ level 2, right?
Correct.
Okay, please, ma, what other certification can we add to increase our level?
Yes, that is what I'm saying, that for you as a CNA to actually, how do I even explain it? To actually be there when we talk about the national vocational qualification, like the NVQ you are talking about, it will give you an advantage if you have a CPR first aid certification, if you have other certifications, but I don't want to talk too much about it. If you know how to get to me, just maybe slide into my DM and let's talk more on it. I wouldn't want to talk about it on the platform because that's going to deviate us, going to take us out of what's focus of what we are actually doing. But if you have, like I tell people, everybody on this platform, if you have any challenge, please reach out. Those that have reached out to me personally, there are people that call me on a daily basis. I give my own advice to the best of my ability because I'm not an embodiment of knowledge, but I'll surely give you the best advice that I can based on the challenge or the situation on ground. So Miranda, please, you can do well to reach out to me afterwards. Thank you. Yes,
All right,
Madam.
Doctor,
thank you.
Doctor, okay, okay. Please, I have put the question on the chat. Does the certificate expire? The CPR and
it does not. It doesn't.
doesn't
Any
expire.
certificate, you know why it doesn't expire? Because it is a diploma you are getting. You are getting a professional diploma. The certificates that expire are maybe certificates of maybe participation in first aid. Maybe first aid, they will give you 2 years. You have to read. Any certificates that you get, be it caregiving, be it CNA, it does not expire. But that does not take away the fact that anybody that has maybe the certification, you still need to keep yourself updated with that's improving your knowledge. Let me put it like that. But in terms of certification expiring, it's a capital no, does not expire.
Okay, what's the duration for the course, the training?
For the CPR first aid?
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be 8 days. It's going to be 8 days, exactly 8 days, the same duration of this particular course.
Okay, the same 3 hours on a daily basis.
No, a CPR first aid is going to be 2 hours. The reason is that because it is more of a practical thing. So we will not have most of these things that I'm talking, different slides. No, it should just be maybe the first day or the first 2 days, we would ensure to run through maybe just the little we have, but it is more of a practical thing because every skill that we pick, we have to practicalize it. If we want to talk about maybe what to do, choking, now we'll dissect it, show you what to do, bring out a person. You know how we used to do it, Mildred.
Yes,
so that's why it's going to take that number of days. So
okay,
that is
thank
how
you, ma'am.
it is. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other question, please? So we move. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Sarah. Is this Sarah Augustina?
Good evening, ma'am.
Augustina. Yes, good evening.
Yes, yes, it's Sarah. It's Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
It's Sarah. Good
Sarah,
evening,
go
ma'am.
ahead. Good evening. Please ask your question. Yes.
Yes. Please, I just want to make us, it's been raining here, so I didn't meet up, like, I didn't get most of the things people say today, so I don't know whether you'll be doing the you have to send the slide to us like you did the other time.
That's right. I already said it. Obviously, network is not just as you have said. Yes, perfectly. I will do that. The reason I even give it 2 days is so that you can read it and, it will be smaller chunks or of smaller portions so you can do justice to it. So don't worry, Sarah, by tomorrow you'll get the slides for Wednesday and Thursday. The one for Monday and Tuesday is already on the platform. Thank you, Augustina. Who else, please? Any question?
Hello, ma. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Go ahead.
Ma, I just wanted to ask when the exam for this CNA course will be taking place.
Okay. Right now, I cannot really get access to my phone to know the exact date. It has just skipped my head. But when you finish the training on Thursday, we are finishing the training next week, Thursday.
Thank you very much.
No, we are not taking it on Thursday. I'm not done, Taylor. That's when we finish the training next week, Thursday. The exam is going to take place the next Saturday. That's like we are finishing on Thursday. It's not going to be the Saturday that is after the Friday. It's going to be the next week. I'm not able to really get to the date. Maybe we can I can drop the dates for you, but that's when the exams will actually happen. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Next week, Thursday, is going to be 31st. So we are going to finish on the 31st. So we are going to take the exams on the 9th of November. That's the next Saturday. That's when the 9th of November, precisely, from my phone. I hope I am seeing the right date. So that's it, Taylor. Any other? I saw Mr. Matthew. Mr. Matthew, you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead, sir. Good evening, sir.
Please, I have 2 questions to ask you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Firstly, I want to thank you for all you have been doing for us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I've not been seeing any slide. I don't know where you are sending the slides to. And then lastly, the CV you are talking about, where are we going to send it? Is it through the email or the platform?
Yes, no, not platform. Now, there are some things that are confidential things. So if it's a confidential thing, I wouldn't want it to be dropped on the platform. But this is how you do. I'm going to drop the number, like I said, of the person, of the specialist that handles this CV for us in Andy Smart Solutions. I'm going to drop the person's contact. He is an admin in the group. I don't even have to. He's one of the admins in the registered group. I used to put him there so he can get first-hand information as to how best he can, So I'm going to drop the contact so that you can either send the CV to him or you forward it to andysmartsolutions1@gmail.com, the same email address that sends the form, the registration form to you. So you can forward it there if you feel safer that way, or you can forward it to him directly. Mr. Wisdom Bassi, that's his name. Just forward it to his WhatsApp, whichever way, or to my WhatsApp. If I see it, I'll forward it, whichever one that is easiest for you. Yes, and then concerning the slides, it's already in the group. So I drop it in the registered group. I think others have seen it. Maybe, just kindly check. You see it. All right. Thank you, sir. So who else, please? Sarah. Okay, Sarah.
Yes, ma'am. The assignment you gave yesterday, I don't know. The network was bad, so I don't know how the submission went.
Okay, the assignment is already on the slides. Today, I said that the assignment, I'll give you time to do it because it's on the slide that I have not dropped it. So I'll give you enough time to do it. Don't worry. When the slides get to you, you open it. It's the last slide. So I would know if you have actually opened the slide, because without you opening the slide up to that point, you will not know the questions I want you to do. So I will drop the slides. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I dropped the slides 2 days. That's the one we did on Monday and Tuesday. I have already dropped it on the platform. I did. Then the one we did yesterday and the one we have done today, I will drop it tomorrow. That's the day 3 and day 4. I'll drop it tomorrow. So the question is in the slide that you would see for day 3 and day 4 is there. So that's how you will know what the questions are. There are just 3 questions and you pick just one of it and then drop your answer. The class prefect will mark. I told you we have a class prefect. The class prefect will actually take attendance and give me the names of those that have submitted. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so we'll be submitting to your...
No. You are submitting on the platform. Me, I want everybody to mark. We are going to do the marking together. And maybe we'll end up sharing the money that I'm being paid for this training. So we have to work together on the platform. Thank you, Sarah.
All right,
Any
thank you very
other
much.
one? You're welcome. Okay. If there's none, please, any other person, if you have, kindly drop it in the group. That's if you don't remember now to ask me the question. Drop it in the group. And the Smart Solutions, please, the floor
All
is
right.
yours. We have come to the end.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. We have come to the end of this week. We started on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and finished that today. Finished for this week. I want to thank everybody, especially our doctor, for finding out time, accepting us, being there anytime we call. You're always there for us. Doctor, I say thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Also, participants, we appreciate you. We appreciate you so much for always supporting us. Thank you so much. I want to have a lovely night rest, a blessed Saturday, a blessed week ahead. And don't forget to go to church on Sunday. We'll meet again next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Everyone, bless
God
you
bless
too.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Huh? Who have this one? Is your blonde blonde? Shark brought it up.